Hello and good evening.
We're listening to a chill song so I can chill out before I get actually angry with this.
Yes,
This is
breathe
so
in the
I-
incense.
We have brought in Storyteller to be the defense attorney for the Verbena. we found-
Why do you put it that way?
It's okay. I'll be there right with you.
There
I don't
it
know
is.
what they do, but I've been in
Storyteller,
spot.
Storyteller will be our Phoenix Wright, and Ryan will be our Maya.
No. Ryan's gonna be Lionel.
I don't know who that is either.
Who is it?
he's gonna
Lionel
put-
Hutch, attorney at law from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's-
that's more my style. I'm
See,
Lionel
well,
Hutch,
see-
not Basin,
see,
not Phoenix Wright.
Did Saul Goodman have a little sidekick, or?
I don't think so. No.
But yeah, I'm going for full prosecution for this because I have tried, dude. I wanted to get into the Verbena, where I've read and reread First Edition, and I would never recommend First Edition to anybody because that book changed narrators 4 times, and it didn't tell you when it would change narrators. And it was the second book to be written out of the convention books. Not convention books, tradition books. The first one was Virtual Adepts, and then the second one was Verbena. Like, you went in a reverse alphabetical order for these guys, where, all right, but I think you probably should have cooked a little bit more with that book before you released it. And then Verbena second edition comes out, and the exact same information that was in first edition is in second edition. And I'm thinking, Mage 20th edition, please, Mage 20th edition, your only hope, save the Verbena, and then they don't. And I've reread this, I've watched Hermetic Hipster, I've watched Mage the Podcast, I've watched like old stuff like Woodward or Aura the Doof, and I'm like going through all these channels, all the old World Darkness channels that have been talking about Mage on YouTube, and I'm thinking, like, aren't you leaving out a ton of stuff with the Verbena? And as it turns out, no, I wasn't being bad faith, I wasn't missing anything, it wasn't reader incomprehension or mistakes on my end. There really was nothing to the Verbena. And all the stuff I would have liked in the Verbena that was in the Dream Speakers book instead. And they even, like, Mage the Podcast, when they were talking about a revised book, like, even them, they themselves were saying, yeah, we're not okay with some of this stuff. Like, it's like, not like it went against them politically, but more like it was just poor quality.
It just wasn't done right.
Like, I am so frustrated with the Verbena, as everyone in the server knows, that I've been trying to figure these guys out, and I've started to reach the conclusion that I think the reason why I get hung up with Mage the Ascension is because of the quality of the tradition books, and the Verbena is the biggest example as to my issues. Where this is the book that has, it sounds like hyperbole, but I mean it, has brought down the quality of Mage the Ascension as an IP for me. Where, if you're expecting this to be a breakdown, deep dive into the history of the Verbena, that would be, you're at the wrong channel for that. Hermetic Hipster and Mage the Podcast are the ones you want to watch for this. This is going to be a roundtable discussion.
Yep.
Yeah, this is going to be shitting on the Verbena episode. Like the Bruja.
It is. We're like, the Bruja, I was smiling when I was doing that. With the Silver Fangs, I was smiling when I was doing that. With the Verbena, it's just frustration.
No. Johnny, I have a solution.
Yes.
We make Sean play a Verbena because he made the Bruja likable in New York.
Made the Bruja likable. It's that he's going with Celestial Chorister. It's like, I want to see you talk about
actually?
God. Yes.
The Celestial Choristers kind of sort of have the same issue.
Yeah.
After a certain point in their history, just nothing. It's just gone. They don't do nothing.
Dude,
It's
Mage...
It's that
Mage is
you
just
have
going to be everybody else in the party holding me back.
Even Mage the Podcast was saying there is a universal issue with all these books where they say from after the point of the Renaissance to the point of the 19th century, nothing happens. The books just say TLDR, nothing happened during this time. And that's every book that does that. It's like, this is your time to fill that space with stories that would have happened. Like, you know how well Clan Buck Giovanni did with its economic storytelling.
All right.
Because there's no expense was spared with Clan Buck Giovanni. And same thing, because you had stories with the Bruja, you had stories with the Malkavians and Nosferatu doing stuff. And it's just this dead zone that is in Mage the Ascension. And it's in every book, but some books filled in the dead air, or some books had an interesting story that explains the dead zone. because the Celestial Chorus and the Order of Hermes, both of them tell the same story in two different ways. They were a group that had the world in their hands, and their own hubris prevented them from doing what needed to be done, and the world is now an irreparably worser place because of their failures. That's the point of their books.
Exactly.
And with the Euthantos, the Euthantos were fighting an uphill battle the entire time and eventually got somewhere with Europe. With the Verbenna, I suppose we could just summarize the history now, because from 400 BC to modern day, the history can be summarized as: we've done nothing but eat dicks and get our shit pushed in by every other faction in the World of Darkness, and we have no accomplishments to our name. You might be thinking I'm being disingenuous here. No, I'm dead serious, because they bring up stories in this, like different orders, different groups that popped in this time. None of the stories go anywhere, Kyle. And
yeah, so the same thing as the Stargazers, yes.
And it ends in to say, oh, this group we had this group, they died. We had this group, they died. We had this guy, he died, and that's it.
I can confirm. Yeah. I've read through this whole book. He is correct. The Verbenna have eaten dick throughout history, from the beginning of time to now.
If the book is just going to be this, if this is in first and second edition, Storyteller, you remember the Sons of Aether had Tsar Vargo in their book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had Chad fucking Zargo, the man who took over the world with blimps and robots.
And it was his secret war that happened and didn't happen at the same time. And there was plausible deniability and reason why nobody remembers this war. It's because of Paradox.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking,
and the NWO kind of mind wiped everybody. You know,
I'm thinking like, why could we have not gotten something with the Verbenna that was an original story? I was expecting, not every book needs to be the story of Sulla and Tremere, but something in here, dude, that's not just you looking at a Wikipedia article, copy pasting it over, and then seeing it from the pagan perspective.
Exactly. I mean, these are fucking wizards. They change reality by thinking about it. How can you make that boring?
Kyle, these people have access to the life sphere. Life itself is what they control.
They have the same power as the Goral.
What? No. What
they have more.
What the Zamichi can do, what the girl can do, what the Gangrel can do, all combined into one, and that's only the surface.
All right, that just seems like wasted fucking potential.
Yes,
it is.
You have this entire group, and you did nothing with the power and the resources and the territory that you had.
But here's the thing, like that kind of makes sense that now I'm the one going up to bat for them. It kind of makes sense that they couldn't do much because of how potent all those powers are combined into one faction. Not only would that put a massive target on your back for every other faction, but it would also be kind of game breaking, actually. Because, like, if you have basically a necromancer who can shapeshift and raise the dead and heal, like that, first of all, you're gonna catch Paradox all over the place.
Yeah.
Second of all,
absolutely,
you're gonna get gunned down by anybody that knows that you could do that shit. Any technocrat figures that out, they're going to harvest your DNA for progenitor slop, or you're gonna get killed by a werewolf for using the powers of the Goral. Or you're going to get devoured by a vampire because you taste delicious.
And you could have written this into the book, but for some reason, everyone who worked on Verbenna books did not. You want to know how many different people worked on the Verbenna?
How many?
Between all these. Okay, I typed in the word Verbenna. I got the plant that they're named after.
Yeah. Good luck just Google searching these guys without darkness.
Verbena Mage. Remember to type this in.
Yeah.
Okay. With first edition, I believe this is the first edition. Yeah, this one. You had Nikki Rea, Sam Chupp, and Lucian Dark all work on this. Lucian Dark has no link on this page, so I have no idea what other books he would have written, and I'm not entirely sure if that's the man's real name or not. This might be his pen name. Nikki Rea, what he has worked on is Kindred of the East is his wheelhouse. This man wrote the rule book for Kindred of the East. He wrote some stuff for Mage. He wrote Buried Secret. But I'm looking at this guy too, and you had this guy spread out over fucking everything. He worked on every property. He worked on Changeling the Dreaming, Changing the Lost, Wraith the Oblivion, Ravenloft books that got resourced out to White Wolf, outsourced out to White Wolf. Mage Ascension, Vampire the Masquerade. He worked on Tribe Book Girl, where I don't know, maybe you should have brought some of the stuff you brought to that Girl book over to the Verbena, maybe?
Yeah, it really would have made sense.
And he wrote Tribe Book Atena, and Tribe Book Atena first edition was awesome. That book was awesome. It made the Atena look strong and confident, saying, yes, we lost a lot, but we're about to gain so much more because we have this master plan that will put the world in our favor. And you couldn't have done the same magic with the Verbena?
Yeah, the Verbena certainly have lost a lot, but they sure as shit not gaining anything.
And then Sam Chupp is also on here too, where once again, this is a guy that you spread across way too many properties. This is the same genius who wrote Berlin by Night. Just to let you know how well the quality of Verbena First Edition is.
Okay.
Where I've looked at other stuff about like other player opinions on the Berlin book, and a lot of other people saying, yeah, there's a ton of like edgelord shit in the Berlin book, and yeah, it is edgy, but you know what? It's the '90s, so it gets a pass.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that.
The '90s was edgy.
Matter of fact, I think World of Darkness is better because of it. It's the World of Darkness, for Christ's sake. It's supposed to be unapologetically edgy. This was the era of nu metal, Marilyn Manson, and Blade. Okay.
But there's no edge in the Verbena book. There's no edge in there, and I'm blaming Phil Brucato for doing that, Mr. Mage, because it feels like, from what I've heard about Phil and all the stuff I heard about Phil Brucato, is that this was Mr. Mage, but rather than letting your team have room to breathe, which is like I've seen like Brian Campbell, Brill Bridges, and Ethan Skemp we're doing with Werewolf. It sounds to me like Phil had like this idea where it's saying, no, you cannot put this in the book until I say you can, is the impression I'm getting. And then you went over and like, even like Justin Akili wasn't even that iron-fisted making the world of Vampire the Masquerade. And then who wrote the revised book? Steve Kinson, where hopefully you'll come in and you'll refine some of these ideas. And once again, this is a guy who spread too thin, but once again, Control of the East, Exalted. Uh-oh. And Aberrant, the game that literally no one cares about.
The literal Who of World of Darkness.
Yeah, like, Aberrant, was that a game that was made? Where it kind of sucks too, because Aberrant had a good idea, but damn, did you just not go anywhere with this? All right. So, yeah, that was the award-winning writing staff that we had going into the Verbena book, and nobody went anywhere with it. Where it feels like the ideas with the Verbena is that you're noticing with all these mages, you could summarize them as an archetype, where
pretty much
the Akashic Brotherhood, they're D&D monks. The Cult of Exceed, they're junkies. Euthanatos, the assassin, but they took those ideas and had real world parallel religions and ideologies and philosophies that they used to like then build off of those. And the Verbena were druids. They're your D&D druid, where if you got a guy who got disenfranchised with D&D 2nd edition back in the day, and he said, hey, you got this wizard game, you got anything equivalent to the druid in this game? They'll point you towards the Verbena. But the thing is, and Interjanner has gone to Devil's Advocate for the Verbena is telling me this, that everything involving records for the druids were destroyed by the Catholic Church, and we only have like unreliable first-hand information that's like kind of shaky. Like we still don't know what paganism was really supposed to be or what the nerds and Celts were doing with their gods. But then they're also the witches, where they wear the wide-brimmed pointy hats and fly on broomsticks and have cats and cauldrons. And at the same time, they're neo-pagans, and at the same time, they're environmental mages, and at the same time, they're animists, which is, I don't know what the Dream Speakers were doing, ? And they're so spread thin. Dude, pick a concept and stick with it. Pick one thing that you're going to be, and then build off that idea. Where I'm going to do that. We're going to have like ideas for like what the Verbena could be later in the video, but you feel so spread thin because you said, oh, we're based off of druids and there's nothing historical about druids. Let's add more stuff as to what the Verbena could be to try to alleviate the issue. And instead, they don't feel like they belong in Mage now. Because with Mage Ascension, it's the paradigm. that fuels your character? What's your philosophy? How do you believe the world works? What point are you working towards? And the Verbena's whole paradigm is we're the nature mage, and we used to believe in the same stuff that the dream speakers believe in, but we just completely disregard spirituality and animism and now go all in on the physical world. What's on the planet matters. That's all we're concerned about. But we also believe in gods that are proven false because the setting of World of Darkness is confirmed to be monotheistic. Talk to a vampire, find a vampire elder. He'll tell you that Cain exists. If you find Cain, he'll tell you that God cursed him. You have the werewolves out there that say there are no other gods out there because the gods that you say that are your gods, they're spirits. Bacchus, Tezcatlipoca, Odin. These are names that people that the werewolves encountered and can tell you that they're not gods. There were men who died and became spirits and are now lingering in the Umbra. Some of them became totems, and Odin in question was never a god to begin with. He was a vampire who took the name and identity of Odin and then used that to form a cult around his name, and then when he died, rebranded himself as Wotan. That's what you get.
Yep.
So, like, your paradigm should not work because it's an objectively wrong point of view. It's like, imagine priding yourself on being this wrong about how the world works. That, oh, I believe in all the wrong stuff. I believe that in sacrificing people, where the sun won't rise unless I sacrifice this goat. I believe that women deserve to have less rights than men. I believe that the world is flat. I believe that I can cure you by putting a leech on your skin. And they also say that reincarnation is a thing, but they say that you go to the life web, quote unquote, when you reincarnate. And the Akashic Brotherhood, Euthanatos, and cult efficacy will tell you that's not a thing. That's not real. There is no life web, and you continue to believe in this.
Yeah. And you know what? You're absolutely right. And wrong at the same time, because a paradigm doesn't need to be right. They just have to believe in it. It doesn't matter if it's true. It's all that matters is if you got faith in it, because that's how magic works.
And this is what fucking frustrates me with your Verbena, bro, saying, okay, you have an entire faction where you're wrong about everything and you pride yourself on being wrong. What prevents you from becoming marauders? In that case. Like in this case, why don't we have, like, I don't know, say we skin the Verbena and say, oh, we're like marauders, but we stay sane. We believe in the wrong stuff. We believe in this kind of reality. We did drugs and ayahuasca like, I don't know, what if alt history did, where you cut the left circle on your triangle and you lit the tree of life and now you're in direct communion with Odin. But it turns out that Steve down the road, who's also Verbena, has his own Odin that he talks to. And the two Odins know each other and share information with each other. And so you have all of a sudden this wacky group of people that everything you say is wrong, everything you do is wrong, but you're so caught up in your own white lies that you're warping reality around you, but you don't lose your minds.
If I had to guess, I would probably say it would have to do with the Verbena's adaptability and ability to survive. As much dick as they eat, they can survive just about any damn thing you throw at them, which is probably why they're still around. I would say the reason that they don't go into full-on marauder territory is the fact that maybe some Verbena aren't as deep into their sauce as some of the others are.
Well, where you have people are like spirit science, where, oh, I cast my magic by taking an omega-3 fish pill every day.
Yeah.
This is how,
Relatable.
There are probably mages who do that.
and
There are probably mages who believe so far into the flat Earth conspiracy that they can actually fall off the Earth.
And there it is.
And that's why I love this game.
I cast a correspondence spell and threw you off the planet, and now you're falling into space.
Yeah.
There it is. Right. If that was the end goal with the paradigm of the Verbena, saying we're going to turn the world flat.
Yeah, but that would be too interesting, unfortunately. Instead, we got this bullshit.
We got if I come on somebody's face, it's going to be my magical foci.
You do that on someone's face, they'll grow a beard. Because I believe it will happen.
Does this make Mao Zedong a Verbena because he believed that the...
He did.
Well, the NWO is going to be coming for us if we keep talking.
So what do the Verbena believe in? Well, they begin with the Wick. We say, back in the day, we had people that were witches and they had untamed power. and they were leaders, and they were pioneers, and then they all died. And then it came back
The end.
together, and they were called the Aduna. And they did the exact same damn thing they were already doing, and then they all died. And then we came back again as this new group called the Caussian Circle, and then we got killed by the Cult of Mercury, which is now known today as Order of Hermes. And then we just got our shit pushed in by the Order of Hermes, the Social Chorus, the NWO, the Syndicate, Iteration X, the people that would become the progenitors that are doing what you're doing, but so much better and are succeeding. And then you all died in the witch hunts, and everything that exists of what you used to be are now in these Book of Shadows that you left behind for your successors. And now everybody believes in like this objectively wrong worldview because what you actually did is now lost to history. But for some reason, nobody wants to use the time sphere to look back in time to see what you actually did and then reflect it today. Amazing.
That would be too smart.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nobody actually wants to utilize the time sphere in Mage Ascension.
It's so useful, and yet no one uses it to its full potential.
But
Then
what
again,
about
paradox?
the paradox? The paradox. Well, just write down what you're seeing before reality sucks you up into the sky.
Yeah.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
And
Wrinkles gonna come bust into your doors.
so yes, that is the TLDR version of the Verbenna book to save you from a lot of really boring information that isn't interesting. Is what it is.
So this is basically the ugly, what was it? The ugly squid or the ugly, what was it?
The ugly barnacle.
The ugly barnacle. That's just the Verbena in a nutshell.
There
was this faction of mage that was so ugly that they all died.
The end, and that's how it is. And now what they look like today, they look like Styx Hexenhammer.
You're not wrong. There are certainly Verbena that do look like
I will say, though, with the advent of modern feminist art, I think they could have a resurgence. Let's be real.
There now exists as the Witches versus Patriarchy subreddit.
They really are, and they're trying to cast spells on Donald Trump atheists and people with autism, but they're all too powerful.
Kyle, if you could put this picture of Styx Hexenhammer up on
Jesus
screen.
fucking Christ!
This is what he looks like, dude. This is what I've told you about this guy before. This is what he looks like. This is what he looks like. It's like he's going through his pirate phase. Now zoom in on that desk. What's on that table?
A whole bunch of Stolas merch from Hell of a
No, dude. No, hold on a minute. He believes that Stolas is real and that he has communed with him and has written his name in his book.
He's just gone so fucking insane, dude.
Yes, like he fucking like nuts like masturbates thinking about Stolas.
I mean, a lot of people do. Let's be real. So,
like, I was talking about Ed about this. Like, he said, like, no, I'm fucking wrong. It's like, dude, like, he has the fucking plushie on the table. There it is.
Dog. This dude saw Vivzy pop, and he's just friggin' just, you know.
He's talking about this. He's probably like nuts to Luna as well. And he's like saying,
well,
he's going
to be fair, there's a lot of people who do. The interest in the show, let's be honest here.
There it is.
Yes.
Well, Kyle, if you said Beelzebub, now we'd have a problem, but
no.
You don't like women male plasma.
Well, actually, no. I, for one, welcome our Sparkle Dog overlords.
No, he's into cougars.
That too.
And this guy's over here, like, the shit this man says where he says, I'm capable of casting chaos magic. A district attorney in Los Angeles who was investigating for me for beating the shell of my girlfriend. I killed him by casting chaos magic. Now, it doesn't actually do anything specific. It just causes random wild stuff to happen in an area. And his suicide was caused by the chaos magic. And this is what this man automatically believes and boasts about. And it's the same guy that says that he intentionally like runs over roadkill on the road just so you can see the gore splash underneath his chassis and then looks under his car to see it.
I love the increase of mental illness in our society. I really think it is a gem.
Dude, I'm not going to be good faith about this because I don't think this deserves any good faith. I think people that are into neo-pagans and actually are Wiccans, I think this is either you're seeking your attention or you have severe disillusion, dissociation with what's going on in reality. I think you have to be actually crazy to believe in this. Because I'm looking at this, where, dude, we can historically prove that your gods were invented to tell stories and explain natural phenomenon, and none of them are real. we can trace back to who made your gods. Is what we can do.
Is this the Johnny Technocrat arc? Is this what we're witnessing right now?
Your gods aren't real. Fucking shit! You tell me your god is fake. That's what we got here.
This is the Johnny. This is the Johnny Technocrat arc. Yeah. What are you eating?
I mean, quesadillas is what I'm eating. What I mean.
Oh, okay.
You bitch, share.
It's okay. I had McDonald's earlier.
I had tikka masala that I made, so we're good.
And with the Verbena, it's that they focus so much on Celtic and Norse shit. Dog, if you want to be polytheistic, why did we not talk about Egypt at any point in these books? Why did we not talk about Hinduism?
Why do we not talk about Greek mythology, Roman mythology,
anything going on in Africa? Dog, how many different polytheistic identities?
Hang on, Story, what's up?
I'm not gonna lie, Egypt Verbena do sound kind of cool.
It would be. It would be. It'd be really, really fucking cool because then you could tie them into the Silent Striders
and the Setites too,
and the Macaulay.
Yes,
these guys are tied to werewolves. I mean, they're the fucking nature mages.
No, the Dream Speakers are, but only in the one spot.
Could you tie them to the Anunnaki?
You got the two. They could have, yes, because the Anunnaki had to start in Africa. You have like the legends in Africa about the spider that talked to the gods and got the box. Not Pandora's
box. Oh shit! Sorry, not the Anunnaki, the Naga.
That too. Yes. You see all the stuff.
Nice.
You see all the stuff that could have been used.
There
the
was
Verbena
limitless
are literally
potential.
found everywhere.
Yes.
They are literally everywhere, and they did nothing with them.
Nothing.
I'm trying to be the guy who's defending these people, but good God, they make it so hard.
There it is. I rest my case, Your Honor. Guilty.
You know what? If I had the choice, I would do nothing with them as well.
Yes.
Why?
You're right.
There's fertile ground here for something amazing, and it's wasted.
Because this is a group of mages that was written to be a D&D class instead of an actual ideology. Because, dude, the virtual adepts had their convention book released first, and there was so much creativity in that book because this was when Cyberpunk was white hot at the time. You had Cyberpunk 2020, a rival game coming out, and that game was picking up so much traction that game was like stealing sales away from TSR, and it was so easy to make the virtual apps because you just need to look at what Cyberpunk was doing, and behold, the cornucopia of information has been laid out in front of you. But then you took it down a spiritual level where I'm going to hit you with a red pill, Kyle. The virtual adepts are dream speakers.
Really? How do you figure that?
Because the virtual adepts realized the internet was a plane of existence that always existed, and we made devices that let us access it.
You're not wrong.
Hold up. The dream speakers made what?
It's that the virtual adepts, the internet existed when time was created, and we only learned how to access it with the invention of the computer.
Well, I don't necessarily think that, because there was no way to communicate at the rate in which we do today.
But Kyle,
the materials were there. But the concept itself did not come to be until the 1990s.
It's always been there, you pea brain. The Weaver made it.
The digital web, from what I understand, is basically the realm of information. It's pretty much where all ideas, conversations, things like words. If I say like apple, you speak of an apple. That word has power in the digital web, and it's always been there. It's the collective unconscious, if you want to look at it that way.
And what this group is that there are dream speakers where the Weaver has been whispering in their ear saying, create the portal that will summon me to the virtual adepts.
Well, alrighty then, voice in my head, you got it.
And that's what they are.
I like your funny words, Magic Man.
You son of a bitch, you knew what I was thinking.
and that is what shut the virtual adepts to the top for me. That is my favorite mage convention because of that.
I like it just because I can code.
Whereas it turns out, you've been under the thumb of the Weaver the entire time, but then after the Weaver's people killed Alan Turing, you finally realized that you were being played, you turned against her, and now you're fighting against her with the same tool she gave you.
Yeah. Also, do not let Kyle play a virtual adept. He will be too OP in any game.
Yes.
Oh, what?
Well,
I mean, I would. Let's be real.
there were the virtual apps were technocrats in 1936. They're unplayable.
Yeah.
Oh no. I've already got my mindset. I mean, Vic already drew a character, already drew a profile for me.
There it is.
I'm
So we will not
playing.
be, so we will not be killing you off in session 1.
No. I am playing I'm playing. Well, you might just because of what I'm playing.
To be fair, you are allowed to kill me session 1 anytime you want. Either, both of you.
Yes.
Wait, Ryan, who are you playing as in Mage?
It was a toss up between Verbenna and Hermetic Order.
Hermes.
Order Hermes all the way.
So there might be
Hermes,
two
do Hermes.
Hermetics then, because I think Vic
Yeah.
was considering Hermes.
No,
There's like
Vic
two
is going
different
for
houses.
Vic's going for Ether. He's going for Son of Ether.
Ah, okay.
Nice.
Yep. And I'm playing you Thanatos because I want to kill people.
And Ham is notoriously difficult to get in contact with. I think he's going Hermetic.
Yeah, so either way, it's basically going to be like, oh, look at all this cool shit. How can I use it to murk a Nazi?
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of Nazis, you know what? Who was a convention that tradition that joined the Nazis?
Oh no!
There's no
Oh
fucking
no!
way.
You mean the funny wizard people that love natures and Nazis? Oh
Yeah.
well, I guess they're part of it now.
I don't
yeah.
think I can play devil's advocate for these guys.
Yes. Yeah. The Verbena, like a good, like they say, it's a sort of high balance situation where this group, I think they're called the Iron Circle, left to join them. But hey, Macy Citrus people, if you want to willingly misrepresent the Fenris, I can willingly misrepresent the Verbena.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
no, the question
I
is,
will never forgive them.
why
Yeah.
did they, though?
Why did they? Because of Nordic shit. Because the Nazis at the time were obsessed with Nordic imagery.
Yeah,
And the
they
Verbena
were-
joined along with that and taught them that information as a means of getting power for themselves. That's what it was.
Yeah. The Iron Circle.
Yeah,
The Iron Circle sucks so much they took down my boys and they get a Fenris.
there it is. Yeah, these guys were like these guys were actually killing GOF members by themselves.
Yeah.
So
Very
you know,
nice.
like how this is the level of power that Verbena could be on. But once again, you didn't want to write it into the book. So, fuck, you know.
I have to think
Right.
that they were probably spread pretty thin. It's the only other explanation I can come up with to why the book is so barren.
It's that. So and then yeah, even in modern day, we're saying, oh, now we're getting like people today are like doing like witch practices. Now you get like the Satan worshiping Zoom call where you have like the woman there who's got 20 nose rings, face piercings. She's dyed her hair pink. She's put heavy makeup on. She's saying, okay, now for this Zoom call, we're going to bleed a pig to celebrate the pagan gods. And,
You know,
Relatable.
I see all that crap and I'm starting to think this has to be like NWO propaganda trying to discredit the Verbena.
there it is.
And it's working.
The gods are real to try and contact you, and the government doesn't want you to do it.
And the gods are just looking at it like, no.
So the conclusion I've come to is that the Verbena are the mage convention of lolcows, is what they are.
Yeah.
Where, if you put the Verbena in your game, I want them to look like Boogie 2988. I want them to look like Wings of Redemption, Six Hexenhammer. Who else? Ethan Ralph and Dickers, please. That's what I want them
There's
to look
only one name I know, and that's Ethan Ralph.
like. No, you want to find him onto the
Darkseid
show?
Velma?
No, that's maybe because I don't have much
Oh,
to
come on,
talk
let's-
about him.
Let's
Th-
keep some class on this thing. I mean, we're not. You guys aren't big, but let's see some kind of standard here.
That man's
Absolutely
gonna-
not.
that man's gonna
Those
drop the
standards are
N-bomb.
long out the window, Story.
He's going to drop the N-bomb in the middle of a show and he goes banned if we do that. So
Anyhow,
well,
if I were to
if you-
play a Verbena, I would just play it straight. In all honesty, like I would
So-
just be a witch in a hiding who fronts herself as just like this spiritual hippie, but actually has the potency to make real change, but knows the cost of her incredible power is that if she uses it once, everybody's going to know about it, and she will immediately have a target on her back.
and then we go to your haven and it's the gingerbread house in the woods.
Well, yeah, but probably, but yeah,
You've got this oven. You smell like the body of 2 dead kids. You put in the oven, baked into a pie.
basically.
Yeah, there it is.
I have made a
Who is
couple
ready
of
for
Verbena.
who is ready for the Hansel and Gretel mage game?
Sign me up.
Oh, yeah, Sir Johnny, we're going to the forest to find the witch made of gingerbread. It's going to be good and target, yeah.
Hansel. Hansel.
Gretel.
You got you could do a really fun like fairy tale game with Mage Ascension.
Oh yeah.
Then it just turns into changing the dreaming.
Yeah, no, Mage is easier to run than Changing the Dreaming because Changing's got like the whole arts system where I'm beginning to realize, oh, you can break the game at character creation with Mage Ascension. No, you can break the game at character creation with Changing the Dreaming very quickly.
If you're smart enough, you can break any of the games if you put your points incorrectly.
Right. There's a reason why a lot of people with Vampire have banned Ravnos from play.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, Ryan can play a Ravnos, but I can't play a Baldi.
I will be playing Ravnos.
Yes, I'm very excited to watch Ryan play a Ravnos.
No. But the Satan, Kyle.
Satan.
That would make it so unbelievably fucking hard to run that game, though.
But the Satan.
I know.
Like,
yes, you want to play as fucking Varg from fucking Gorgoroth, but no. I want to see your, depraved fat fuck ruin everything.
There it is. You've been missing Nozomi, and he's going to come back in that game.
As much as I hate that fat bastard, he is in the perfect spot to make an impact. And not just because of his feet on the pavement, but,
And there we go. He's a cube that's shape and size forever. He can eat whatever he wants, and he won't gain or lose anything.
Yeah, but he got embraced as a fat fuck, so now he is forever a fat fuck.
It was his own choice and indulgence that led him to that.
Dumb fat fuck.
There it is. There it is. He didn't get to like Dicker's Masucci size, where the guy has like legit Michelin Man segments to his body. There it is. There it is. Okay, well, now I'm thinking about Dickers again. Let's talk about relationships before I go off on a rant.
All right, then.
All right. Now, Kyle has the relationships up on his end.
Yes. So as far as the relationships go, this book is really fucking barren. It has a section about the traditions, has a section about the technocracy, marauders, and there isn't much to say about the Nefandi. Starting with the traditions, so the Verbena Old Faith recognized the need for the Council of Traditions, and they realized the efficacy of it, and they know that pagans from different lands and cultures banded together because of the mutual threat of the technocracy that was established. The followers of the Old Faiths had a lot more in common with the Verbena than previously thought, and it was this old council of traditions that showed different mages could work together. Though the Celestial Chorus and Hermetics were very surprised that the Verbena actually joined the traditions. But most traditions don't seem to understand that the Verbena intend to embrace all aspects of life. As the book describes, the Celestial Chorus indulge in all the worldly pleasures of life, but as soon as the party's over, they don't help to clean up. They just kind of book it to the next party. And, the Verbena stay around to do the dirty work. The Euthanatos understand the importance of death, and they practice life, but they don't seem to understand all of the important parts between life and death. Their closest allies would be the Dream Speakers. But the Dream Speakers seem to speak to the spirits and spend a lot more time within the Umbra. The Verbena much more spend their time in the material plane. Though a lot of the traditions, specifically the Hermetics and the Sons of Ether, say that the Verbena give the rest of the traditions a bad name for perpetuating the old ways, which was part of the discussion we had at the start of the video, but I can't necessarily blame them. Following that up, of course, is the big bad, the technocracy. Since the technocracy's foundation, they have tried to wipe out the Verbena because of the severity of their reality deviancy, even to the point where the other traditions denied what the Verbena were teaching. Though the Verbena have particular beef about the progenitors, both of which sprang from the Sept of Herbalist, the Koskin Circle, but it was the founding of that circle that sort of split the branch between them. The Hippocratic Circle and the progenitors promoted the idea of living things as just biochemical machines, and in doing so became the soulless machines that they advocated for. They saw themselves as sort of the masters of life and death. They believed that everything could be boiled down to a science. Spirituality was psychology, and, the evil spirits that plagued you was, your biochemistry going haywire, but they do label all of the conventions as equally dangerous. How the NWO have tried to dictate spiritualism and enforce, a common system of beliefs throughout all people to neutralize free thought. The Syndicate materializes the entire world, makes everybody believe that it's for the benefit of humans and only humans. But Iteration X particularly scare the hell out of the Verbena because that they have decided to make themselves more machine than man.
When I discovered the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
It's exactly dead.
And then the Void Engineers are the most idealistic, but seem to have abandoned interest in life on Earth entirely, only to find new places to live to completely fuck them up and move on afterwards. Meanwhile, the Void Engineers are actually trying to stop the Borg from invading Earth, but don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
The Marauders. Some people say that the Marauders seem like like natural allies for the Verbena. But how can you be allied with a hurricane? They're just fucking insane. If anybody brings up the notion that the Verbena and Marauder should work together, get the fuck up out of there right now.
Yeah.
You two, both are just wrong about everything, though.
Yeah, and that's why people say they're a natural fit for allies. But at the same time, there are people who are wrong, and there are people that refuse to admit when they're wrong. And that's what separates the Verbena from...
They make the wrongness correct.
Exactly.
If you're right, I don't want to be wrong.
And then the Nefandi, the true enemies of the Verbena, enemies only worthy of destruction. They are the forces of corruption made manifest. They spread like a disease and spread diseases, and thus should be eradicated on sight. And that about tears. There really isn't much in this book.
Seriously. I remember seeing, is that it? And that is.
Quick question. You guys are reading the second edition book, right?
Yes. Is there anything else in first edition?
Fuck no, it's all the same. My book, does it go over vampires, werewolves, ghosts, changelings, anything like that?
It's like,
mine doesn't.
Ours doesn't
feels
either.
like there's a massive missing opportunity with there being nothing about ghosts, considering that's the opposite side of your paradigm. Would you not have something to say about that?
No, this book in this tradition have more fucking holes in it than Swiss cheese.
It's like, you know what? I'm actually coming to an epiphany right now. I'm beginning to realize why the technocracy took off the way it did. Because with everything we've said about technocracy, those episodes have been going on for 3 hours each time we've gone over a tradition. Even Iteration X, which was the stinker of all of them, went on for a while. But Iteration X had that story about computer with a capital C that kind of saved the book. And you'd get none of that with any of these tradition books. So why are the villains fleshed out more than the heroes?
Because you guys are going to be playing the heroes.
Yeah, because you got to make.
You want to know who you're fighting against.
And then me back in the 90s would say, well, I don't want to play these guys because there's nothing to them. I want to play these technocrats that have all this history to them.
But you're not supposed to play the bad guys. You're supposed to play the nature worshipping good guys with all the animals and the trees and the bushes and you're just a bad person.
Fuck that.
No, I'm going to play as a schizophrenic secret agent and kill things that I don't like.
See, Agent Evans. That could just be a full-on campaign if we really wanted
I actually really love playing that game. Especially the last session was fucking hysterical. And the ever asexual Sean in our games decided to make Evans pull his dick out in the club.
There it is. He decided to pull a dark side fill in public.
Oh my god.
Oh,
I
wow,
was
the camera's on.
fucking
Hello.
howling when that happened, dude.
Just have a little before work jerk, don't mind me.
Yeah.
Oh my good lord.
So yeah, that's the shit we got to deal with, and then how fucking bare bones that was. Now, Smoke of Foci. What is that they do? What do they use? Fluids. Any and all fluids.
Lots of
Wait,
fluids.
what?
Yes. They cast their spells through blood, sweat, tears, urine, liquid shit, piss,
I thought I
your
heard you right.
Okay.
your jizz.
So I'm gonna step in. This is where I'm gonna play devil's advocate. That is not just what they use. These aren't like a bunch of those coprophiliacs on Reddit. They do use other things like books, gemstones, crystals, brooms, stuff like that. I'll give them that, like a point in the win section next to the other row, which is just like full of L's.
Because so they use like the usual like, druid shit like nuts and berries, a herb, a stick, mud.
Then you look over to the side. Why does Grandfather Oak have a bag of Chipotle over there? Don't worry about it.
That's what it is. And sometimes you cast a spell through killing a man. Where you cast a spell, how do you do it? You just stab this guy in the chest and you kill him, and then the spell's cast.
Sacrifice to the devil.
And then they fucking me, the Euthanatos. I'm like, well, shit, that made my job easy.
That's all you gotta do. So as it turns out, there actually is a lot of overlap between these guys and Euthanatos.
Actually, how much do you think I could make selling my targets to be human sacrifices for the Verbenna? How much do you think I could?
It's gonna be difficult considering that the Verbenna don't exactly get quote unquote willing sacrifices.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mind Sphere does exist.
Because what these guys will do to cast their spells and their sacrifices is that usually it's an animal that they'll do this to, but they'll like Pied Piper hypnotize somebody into the woods and then beat them to death, rip out their heart, and then set on fire to cast their spell.
I imagine these guys have I don't want to say a friendship with the Red Talons, more like a mutual understanding. For different reasons, of course.
You're both psychopaths that have no actual regard for human life, even though life is what you're based around.
And these morons wonder why the Celestial Chorus keeps burning them at the stake.
There it is, because they saw what you were doing, and it disgusted them. Where, dog, you know what's an actual real-world religion out there that I think would have made for a more interesting tradition?
What's that,
Voodoo.
Johnny? That's already taken.
Is it?
Yeah. I believe they're called the Bata'a. They're a disparate tradition. They are mostly focused around voodoo and practitioners of, that sort of parts of the world.
Because with voodoo, like it's a synergy between Christianity and African paganism, is what it is. And you could have had that with the Verbenna, where instead, like all the stuff like the Druidism, you go over, because there's a whole section in this book that says it's labeled medicine. Do you actually list out a procedure involving medicine that involves healing people? No. It's 3 books. Like it's 3 paragraphs. I can even begin to tell you like what this is supposed to say, because it's just nonsense that I'm looking at. Where let me. I'm thinking about like reading this verbatim, but this is like so fake, lame, and gay that I don't want to.
Yeah, but that's what makes Mage fun.
It's saying, Western medicine, we don't believe in Western medicine. We instead will just like shove mud and leaves into your wound and hope that doesn't kill you.
That's the way my ancestors did it.
And if it does kill you, well, guess what? You were weak and you deserved your death.
Yeah, that sounds like the Verbenna, which is probably why the progenitors don't care for these people.
There it is. The progenitors are doing everything that they're doing, but better. If you want to see like what the Verbenna should be doing, the progenitors exist.
Yeah, but no, we can't do what the progenitors do because they do. They dissect people and torture them. We don't do that as they proceed to rub their own shit into someone's gaping chest wound.
As they proceed to like tie a man to trees and blood eagle him, have his lungs come out of his back.
Yeah. But no, we can't join with the progenitors because they use tables and anesthetics and disinfectants. Nah, that's pussy shit right there.
And like when you go on to like the Verbenna around the world section, like they have a whole section about Africa, and like this could have been your fucking cornucopia, and they have a mention to Santeria, they have a mention to Yoruba, and that's it. That's all you've got.
I don't practice Santeria.
That's a smoke song right there. It's a 420 dude.
Yeah, you would think that would be too interesting for them, unfortunately.
And do we even want to go over like the subfactions of them? Like gardeners of the tree. Like, oh.
I mean, we may as well. Otherwise, this episode's gonna be like an hour long.
I'd say it's going to like most like round table kind of stuff. But like the gardeners of the tree, like there's this whole massive ass section in this book about what the gardeners in the tree were supposed to be. Really, you could just go to the White Wolf wiki on Mage, and everything in that one paragraph it summarizes what it took. I don't know, 2 pages for the book to say.
I'll even say, go to 1D6 Chan. It'll probably be a lot more interesting than the actual Verbena lore.
It's like telling somebody about Lord of the Rings, where you like Tolkien wrote one of the best stories of all time, but did we really need this many paragraphs explaining everything in your book?
I fell asleep trying to read the first book.
There it is. That's what I mean. It's like he's such a good storyteller, but he's so dry.
Yeah.
So you have the gardeners of the tree, which are your pattern versions. These are like your quote-unquote weaver Verbena, where they say, hey, you know the world? Let's keep it the way it is. Yeah.
No. Like, actively, no.
It is.
These guys have access to the life sphere, which is pretty much as dynamic as you can get, but nah, let's keep everything as it is.
Let's not use the sphere that we're known for.
I personally don't like change, so I'm okay with this.
There it is.
Let's keep everything the same, guys.
You're essentially doing what the Weaver wants you to do, where you just spray glue everything you come across.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
It is. And then you have the Life Weavers, which are your dynamic, wild aligned Verbenna. So these are essentially Gangrel. We're just going off into the woods, stripping butt naked, becoming one with nature. You become this weirdo hermit who's out there with bugs in his teeth and moss growing in his hair. And you're just naked out there, surviving, barely scraping by. And you love it. You love living a life this hard and this difficult. And you're out there doing your sacrifices. You're the weirdo in the woods, dragging a man back. You sacrifice his body and then you eat it when you're done with it.
Wow, I'm just trying to live out in the woods in peace, and it is fraught with fucking peril, isn't it?
It's like, what was that story I was hearing? Like the priest was like going over to like the cannibal tribe, and like he tried 3 different times. He said, "Don't come back for me. Just leave the boat here. I'm going to stay here. My faith will protect me." And then the boat came back, and right they were dragging his dead body into the woods, and the Bible was just floating in the ocean.
That's messed up.
Well, I don't know what we were expecting, but he got his wish in the end.
There it is. Where the thing with the Life Weavers, that don't talk to these people. Just don't interact with them.
You do not talk to these people. You will die at best.
Right. The Twisters of Fate, your primordial avatars, where these are your wormish Verbenna. They say, hey, change is going to happen. Let's go ahead and let's just let it happen. And I'll die, and I'll think about my past lives in this new body. And I'll be going around here, and they're isolationists as well. But they wish to recapture and re-understand the old ways. Actual neo-pagans is what they are. We're trying to like uncover the paths of like who the gods were supposed to be. And if they actually figured out this question already, they would quit being Verbenna and would go off and become dream speakers. There it is.
Well, that's how the dream speakers came about to begin with.
Now, I may be thinking, what about that was primordial? What about that was entropy? And nothing.
Let's see.
The Twisters Fate.
Seekers, but
I mean, like, in all honesty, I think it would make sense if they just sort of mushed into one tradition. Like, if we were to make a Mage 3.5, I think that's what we'd do.
You got, like, the Twisters of Fate, too. Like, the picture that I have for her is like, woman with dreads where she's, like, wearing a bra, but, like, you see her nipples, like, hard and erect pointing through the bra.
Oh, you guys got that picture, too. I wasn't sure if my version had that.
Yeah, and that's it. And there's like, well, what about this is wormish in any way? Like, what about this is dynamic or primordial in any way?
I mean,
it's not. It's just horny.
It's yes.
Yeah, but that is the Verbena as well. They are very horny.
And then you have the Moon Seekers, which are like your balance of the 3, which they call a questing avatar, who basically hippies is what they are.
Yeah,
they're just hippies.
They're
where
neo-pagans, techno-pagans.
there's also a section here calling them the fairy folk. These aren't people that have connections with the changelings. Oh no, these are people that have used the life sphere to cut off their penises to get themselves boobs.
Ah, I think I know the people you're talking about. The alphabet
It's
people.
like okay, like okay, like you awaken as a mage to do this to yourself.
I mean,
Yeah, basically.
fuck it. Your magic, your rules.
But behold, I have now awakened. I now see my space in nature and who I am and what my place in the world is supposed to be. And now I have the power to alter the webs and patterns of life itself. I'm gonna cut off my dick now.
What?
There it is.
That was a bit of a fucking stretch.
That's what this is. Like, you have an entire faction dedicated to this? Well, fuck you. This is stupid.
Yeah,
But yeah.
That's mage.
That's it. It's like, this is just fucking dumb. This is so dumb.
And it's not even the fun kind of dumb. The rest of Mage is the so dumb it's kind of fun, but Verbenna, they got no fun in it.
Like Akashic Brotherhood First Edition was terrible because that was written by guys who who talking out their ass about Asian culture. This, it's like, what am I supposed to get from this? Like,
to be fair, the Akashic Brotherhoods are people who do kung fu so hard that they learn Jedi magic. I mean, that's kind of cool.
Like, even though the research in the Akashic Brotherhood was bad, I still want to play in the Akashic Brother.
Yeah. I looked into Verbenna. I do not want to play these guys.
It's like, dog, this isn't interesting. Like, the D&D druid, Kyle, 6% of all people that have played D&D have played a druid.
I played druid recently in a one-shot, and I actually really enjoyed it.
I don't care for the druid class. I
There
don't
is-
care.
Straight up refuse.
I hate the nature archetype so much because I grew up in the 90s where that stuff was so prolific, so preachy, it completely turned it off.
See,
I have been given so much NWO propaganda. I am on full board with the fucking Weaver right now.
See, this is why
It's
I
not
did
even
a...
the nature part that did it for me. It's just
What?
something about it. I just didn't like the druid.
Because it's pigeonholed into being one thing. You can only be one thing when you're the druid.
Yeah,
I suppose
a tree
that's...
fucker.
Or you could do what I did and host a TV show and pretend to be the croc hunter, which was hilarious. I was Nigel Van Albrecht, and I was here to tell all my party about all the great creatures there are in the world of Toriel.
We got this lizard folk over there, and I'm going to shove my thumb up his bumhole.
You see, that there's a wild owl bear with her cubs there. Well, if she knows I'm here, she will tear me limb from limb.
See, what was really funny is we were playing this one shot where our party sailed to a tropical island where there was a little city there, and we had to go find the treasure. And so our inn got raided by bandits, and so I was kind of last in initiative, observing everything, and I looked at the bard and I just started doing my show to the bard, and I'm like, all right, so it looks like my party's in a bit of a bind. These 4 ruffians have busted in here and started making a mess of the place. Now, I saw my paladin over there fell off the railing and face planted onto the bar, so he's hurt a little bit. I'm gonna pop him up with a healing spell, and then I casted a healing word. I'm like, all right, so we've helped him out a little bit, but I think I'll need to get in there and provide a little bit of extra support. Now, and I was playing as a moon druid, so I actually had...
Of course.
Well, yeah, because it's the best one. So I was like, now, I remember that I was on an expeditionary team uncovering some ancient bones of some great dragon descendant creature they called an Allosaurus. Watch this. And then I turned into a fucking dinosaur. It was awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
That's how you know it's the animals. You just turn into them.
No, quite literally, I just had another page up where I was looking, okay, what CR monsters can I turn into? And I'm like, a fucking dinosaur. Yes, please, I would like to. And I had a high enough intelligence modifier where I could conceivably make that work. And so I literally bit a guy and then, ran into him and pounced on him and clawed him to death. It was so much fun, dude.
I mean, you have the opportunity to turn it into a dinosaur. Take it. Take
Yes.
it every time. No exceptions. Okay, you can become a dinosaur. I want that. What?
Yeah.
I didn't get to the shark or the
No,
Loch Ness
no.
monster. No, I don't
Dinosaur,
care.
right now.
Dinosaur.
Look, they say you can be anything you want to when you grow up, unless you can be a dinosaur. Then be a dinosaur.
See, there's. And shall we enter the spell section?
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
So before Ryan reads off his spells, there's two things that the book goes over, where it's harming and shapeshifting is what they want to go over. Where, Storyteller, are you familiar with Jujutsu Kaisen?
I've actually started watching that. I've been kind of sleeping on that because there's a lot of other stuff I wanted to watch, but I started watching it.
Are you familiar with what Mahito does?
I am familiar with Mahito.
You're going to love this character. He's a guy that, he's the curse of mankind, as in like.
Yeah, I
mankind's
know.
spiritual.
I know about Mahito. Thank you, Death Battle. You are introducing one of my new favorite villains.
As that kind of stuff is what the Verbenna can do.
Exactly. I'm familiar with what the Verbenna can do, I assure you.
Because what the Verbenna can do, like if you wish to go into this kind of sphere with life, you could like combine life with other spheres like entropy. Now, what you can do, Kyle, with the Verbenna is that you just need to lay your hand on a man. It doesn't even need to be a punch. It's just your fingers out, you graze the man's skin, and then start a chain reaction in his body that causes him to explode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just like on the small scale stuff. When you get into like Life 5, you become an eldritch abomination.
Yeah, where you know what the Zamichi Vazd, you can do that to yourself.
That's pussy shit.
Amazing.
You can transform yourself into a two-headed, four-armed spider gorilla that shits panthers. And on top of that, you can breathe fire.
Yeah. Just anything you want to do with the Verbenna, you can do with the life sphere. Because the life sphere gets super abstract very quickly. There's only one thing you cannot do, and that is raise the dead. You have to wait until sphere 6 to do that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah. And that's impossible to do as an alpha spell. You have to do a ritual for that. But with the shape-shifting, there's a whole section in this book saying, oh yes, once you get into life sphere 4, basically anything. You just turn yourself into anything by that point.
You just get the polymorph spell at that point.
And with seemingly unlimited uses, as long as you don't set off paradox, as long as nobody knows that you're a man, you can just make yourself look like fucking anything.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
So,
I had a friend.
Like, imagine all the different effects you can do with this.
Well.
Yeah. Storyteller, were you saying you had a friend? Something?
Yep.
I am slowly, quote-unquote, introducing a friend of mine to Mage. She transformed into a furry bipedal shark. No, not bipedal, quadrupedal shark creature. Yeah. And fought a Normalite with her werewolf boyfriend.
That's awesome.
Don't judge her.
That is awesome. I love that.
It's shit you can do with life sphere. Along with it, you want to combine a sphere of correspondence? Behold, you can now clone yourself.
Yeah. You can literally go fuck yourself.
Yes.
That's probably a foci for a Verbena.
Or the life sphere, behold, a part of your body got cut off. Oh, now you can just reattach it to your stump.
It's like fucking Ethan Winters from Resident Evil 7 screwing his wrist back on.
Yeah, after putting the goop juice on it. You can use this to fix your leg.
I actually have a 4E. Oh shit, my thing's screwed up. I have a book called The Book of the Spheres, and it pretty much gives you like a sample of what you can do with all the crazy stuff of the spheres. Life, if you master life, you are pretty much going to be going beyond what is basically for a white mage. You are going to be terrifying because life takes care of everything that is alive. We're not talking animals and people. I'm talking like bacteria, viruses, cells, or single cell organisms. And if you master this, you will become a walking plague or a walking cure to all diseases.
What the Verbenna can do is that if they want to make a bioweapon just for you, they can take its genetic sample from you, they cast a spell, reintroduce the bioweapon, and then kill you dead with a hammer.
They literally are able to fart deadly diseases.
Along with that, along with being able to like spit parasites out their mouths, they're able to like cultivate parasites in their stomach they can like use and become symbiotes with.
Yeah.
That
Do
that
not
kinda-
interact with the Verbena. This is what this whole episode is. Interact with the Verbena at your own risk.
or like kind of like the really like scary plants, you can summon those.
Yeah.
That's what we're able to do with this kind of shit.
You can make
So-
yourself younger or older.
So there we are. So Ryan, what kind of spells do we have?
Hey,
So
a
you're-
fuck ton.
we begin with
Um,
Adder's Tongue, right?
Yes, it is a mind too. They have the ability to understand the natural world, or the caster has the ability to understand the natural world. And particularly, it's pretty much your speaking with animals.
Yeah.
It's spell.
Yeah.
If you're going to be Verbena, you're going to have to talk to animals.
Yeah,
It's like a
it's-
requirement.
It's what you do. Like, behold, I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees, and I have the spell to do it.
Tell me, Great Oak, what is your will? Fuck off. It will be
Yeah.
done.
There's like this movie, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's all these dogs. Like, this guy saying, "Oh, I wish I could talk to dogs," and he gets the power to do so, and the dogs are just going, "Hey, hey, hey, hey," and that's it.
You sure that's not like a Family Guy episode or something? 'Cause-
That might be. It might be.
Yeah.
All
Otherwise,
it
I'm thinking
needs-
Dr. Doolittle.
All it needs is a single success
Yeah, it's
for it to work. That's
It's
it.
that easy.
I don't know what Met is, but
Mine's Eye
it
Theater.
has-
Don't worry about it.
Ah,
It's the live action role play rules for it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
And the Witches of Old Faith can use Spring 2 instead of Mind 2,
In case you want to use the Dark Ages rules.
which I don't know if we're covering or not.
The Dark Ages kind of has to be its own episode.
Pretty
Oh,
much.
gotcha.
Yep.
Along with Future World of Darkness, which you guys should totally cover sometime.
As soon as we get a copy of that book, as soon as it's in my hands.
Next is going to be Arrest the Flight of Arrows, which is Forces 2. In the Norse, Havamal.
Whatever that word means.
Havamala. Go for it. I don't know.
Havamala.
Yeah, go for it.
The god Odin proclaims, if I see hurled arrows hard at my what?
Hard at my horde. The
Yeah.
rapid
Hard
their
at my
flight, I
horde.
arrest them in air.
So rapid their flight, I arrest them in air. That is
That's great sense, Odin.
Yep.
Yeah.
so nine rune workers have known charms for warding off flight of arrows or similar weapons, kind of like darts, spears, stuff like that.
Yes.
And they have passed this knowledge on to the Verbenna. The spell creates a ward that robs all sorts of missile weapons of their motive force, or their momentum,
Yes.
causing them to hang suspended in midair for a moment before dropping harmlessly onto the ground.
It's the Neo spell. You hold your hand out, the bullets stop, and they drop to the floor.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. It not only does against like spears, arrows, but it also says that modern ballistics as well. That rocket launcher coming at you, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It drops to the floor, then it explodes.
There it is.
Yeah.
You can do
That
like the
grenade
whole like,
launcher stops.
you can do a return to Cinder from Bioshock where you just absorb the bullets into your palm and then shoot it out as a burst of energy.
At that point, you're basically just playing Giorno Giovanna.
Yes. Behold, I touched this brick, now it's a snake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Matter,
So the success,
life.
the successes scored from the spellcaster are subtracted from the successes. I can't speak to the gays.
Don't worry about
It's
it.
okay.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
I know you're not feeling well. We're not exactly expecting Shakespeare
He's
right
stoned out of his mind. It's fine.
Legally, no.
It's
now. I'm not in one of those states.
Johnny's trying to get me in trouble over here.
It really is. It's
In
his
trouble
way.
with the
I'm a bad boy.
It's his way.
I was watching. Careful what you say.
FAA. Right. Successes rolled to hit the subject with a missile weapon, from a thrown rock to an arrow, even a bullet. If the attack roll is reduced to 0 or fewer, can you have fewer successes than 0?
Yes, it's called a botch.
Yeah, the
True,
negative results. Get a point of rage.
Yeah. Never mind. Ignore that.
It's,
Or fewer successes than the missile drops harmlessly onto the ground, a short distance away from the target, robbed of its momentum. Even if the attack still has one or more successes, the hit is somewhat blunted by the spell, since fewer successes means fewer damage dice. The spellcaster must allocate successes to duration to maintain the spell, and they can protect multiple targets by assigning successes to increase the area effect.
So, it's not something you want to use?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think every mage would want that spell.
Yes.
Wrote. My apologies. We don't use the S word here.
It's like, just call it a zombie. That's what it is.
No, it's an animated corpse.
It's what the fuck a zombie is. You absolute
No,
pancake.
it's a walker. No, it's a biter. No, it's a bleeder. No,
Call it a muerta.
It's a shovelhead.
That's a vampire.
It is. It's a hoosfat.
It's a ghoul.
It's a leedle
It's a bird.
deedle.
It's a plane.
It's
Fuck's
my cousin
sake.
Jenny.
It is.
Moving on to Banishing Blessing. It's a entropy 2, mind 2, and possibly with correspondence 3. Verbenna, who hold the tenet of harm and none, find other means to deal with the problem people in their lives. One such is to release with love. Is that what they're calling it these days?
Yes.
As some moon seekers say, using the connection to the target, such as a photo or a lock of hair, that's weird. The Verbenna sends good fortune along with the subtle mental suggestion to seize the opportunity with the intention that the subject's blessing will take them away. Preferably far, far away for some time. Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
For example, the subject might get a new job opportunity on the other side of the world or continent. They could win a trip or a vacation here for distant relatives they didn't even know they had, and so forth and so on. It's your typical heist taking over for someone else because they're on a vacation or they want a trip type of deal.
Behold, you lost $20,000 on a casino. Here's a cruise.
Right?
It's quite literally the piss off. Here's $1,000.
There it is. And the money will just fall into my lap.
Oh, you just get a fucking Glasswalker gift just like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
You need at least 3 successes to send the target away for at least a day, with additional successes extending the duration subject's absence once the blessing has taken hold. 4 is enough for a month. 5 is enough for 6 months. 6 is more or more successes can cause the subject to be gone for a year or more, or perhaps permanently at the storyteller's discretion.
You basically just get banish as a spell.
Yeah, but they vanish in a seemingly possibly deniable way.
Yeah.
But in a positive way, nonetheless.
Yes.
But then again, you're going to want to start pumping all your points into RAT to get someone particularly annoying out of here fast.
Just make sure that it's you're allowed about it, because then they're going to be like, well, what'd you do with this person? We're like, I don't know. He won a thing. And no one's going to believe you if you say that.
Here's a reminder to you guys that Avatar is banned for the Mage game.
What?
We will not be putting points in that background. That was a mistake to put that in Mage.
Yeah, Avatar is pretty OP. Quintessence is love, and quintessence is life.
Come on, at least once for the new player.
Yeah, for a new player. You'll get it as the story progresses.
That would be all of us.
You can at least start with 1. I think there is one merit that lets you raise your Avatar level later in the game. But it's like, if your Avatar is shattered.
is looking at this because like everyone has a point in Avatar, so you at least get 1 point in quintessence, but that's just because the story demands it. And no, you cannot increase it with your points.
Damn.
Yeah, it is.
Nice try, Mr. FBI.
It's too fucking strong.
Amazing.
One thing you're gonna learn about me, Storyteller, is I'm always looking for a way to break the game.
It is.
Yeah.
You came
Mage is
close to
pretty
it with
much built
Sylvester
for this.
Shrek.
I did.
This
I
is
really did.
Mage is a game where your creativity will be a boon and a bane to your storyteller.
Which is why I'm like putting the screws to you come session 1.
My mage games, everything
That's
is on the
fine.
table.
Yeah.
Because if it's on the table for you, it's on the table for me.
I'm not going to go like fear and hunger levels on you, but each one of you is going to have like a stranglehold that you have to wrestle for until you can find a guy that gets you out of it.
That's fine.
Let's see here. Do we have any more routes? I believe was it Blood of the Sacred King?
Oh boy, it's this one.
You get to kill Jesus for a spell.
What?
Yeah,
Where's that
probably
one?
not a good idea.
Mama, must I do it? It must be done, Timmy. You have to kill Jesus.
These Christ killers.
I'm
Bros,
not saying that one. Where's
you
that
you
one?
can't do that. You
It
gotta
is.
fuck. He's literally.
But it has to happen to complete the sacrifice.
It's a terrible
What's
fucking
the
sacrifice.
There it is. This is why he's
Uh,
Jewish, not Christian.
Oh, I
Indeed.
did find
Conspiracy
it.
theory.
I do have
Was the
it.
killing
Jesus
of
Christ.
Jesus really a plot by the Verbena?
It
It would
is.
not surprise me.
Maybe they were Roman after all.
Yeah, they were in Rome. Then again,
Yeah.
they were. You can find the Verbena just about anywhere, so it's possible.
Yes.
It probably was them. It wasn't the Semitic friends. It was the Verbenna that killed him.
Yeah. Though then again, if that was the case, it would be the Lions of Zion, most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which we don't really talk about in this game.
They're in Mage and they're not very good.
All right. Blood of the Sacred King. It's a prime 3. By the way, I just want you guys to know that I was looking at the wrong page when I was looking for it earlier. So
What?
It's okay.
Yeah.
You've been very convincing.
Verbena understand the well of power of sacrifice, the energy bound up in the living patterns that is released at the moment of death, merging back into the weave of the tapestry. That power can be captured and channeled toward magical ends, particularly in the sacrifice, if the sacrifice is willing, and even if he's not. The emotional resonance of a willing sacrifice works in harmony with the magic, whereas the emotions of an unwilling sacrifice may taint the spell with unexpected or unwanted resonance, like death, fear, pain, or vengeance. Among the Verbena, the most common sacrifice, apart from self-sacrifice, is that of the Sacred King, who gives his life for the land, or the May Queen, who does the same, gives her life for them. The health of the land is the duty of its ruler. When the land falters, the ruler must perish to make it grow strong again. A sleeper sacrificing himself can release a remarkable amount of quintessence. A mage who willingly gives up their own life can achieve truly remarkable things through their sacrifice. I volunteer myself as tribute.
You just
No,
win.
you don't. Put your hand down.
Yep.
No. It's up there. It's staying up there.
Okay, question 2. Are you truly the one putting your hand up right now?
It's
Don't ask
gaslighting.
questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Uh,
Okay, I feel like I gotta play that character now.
what's next on the list?
Uh,
Do you want me to go over the system? No, never mind. That's
if you want to, pad the episode out a little bit.
that is a lot of reading, and I have no more water.
Understandable.
You guys continue
If you
talking
want-
about this. I will go grab some water.
Did
you
you
want,
want
I
to go
can
over
tag
Blood
in.
King?
The
You wanna
what?
do it?
He's gone.
No, I was talking to you, Storyteller.
Yes. What's up?
Did you want to go over the rest of that?
Sure, I'll take over the system. Okay. For each of the sleeper sacrifices health levels, banish and lethal, The caster gains 1 point of quintessence, so a human sacrifice yields 14 points of quintessence total, which the mage may use as desired. If the subject possesses any innate quintessence, it is added to the above total. The subject's state of mind at the time of death applies a strong resonance to the harvested quintessence, which the storyteller should take into account when it is used. An awakened mage, however, who sacrifices himself, or allows himself to be sacrificed, on the other hand, provides the vital quintessence, but does far more in addition. He can renew a dying node by sacrificing his life and his avatar to open up the node. If the mage channels his death to the purpose, he increases the rating of the node by 1 dot per every 2 dots of his arete rating, rounded up if the player rolls any 10s around down otherwise. This route cannot be fast cast. Furthermore, if more than one mage performs such a sacrifice at a node in the space of 1 year, the node may become unstable and begin behaving erratically, varying drastically in quintessence output, for example, or by becoming a shallowing or the like. A mage who sacrifices herself in this way cannot be brought back by any means necessary. She does not become a ghost of any sort, nor can she be contacted in any way. Her avatar and spirit are both invested entirely into the node she is rekindling. Nothing remains of the mage's personality except possibly some tendency of the land to manifest like her personality traits in some vague symbolic way.
Just
So,
destroys herself, basically.
Yeah.
Indeed. However, though this spell is kind of morbid, it is extremely useful, especially if used with a mage sacrifice. You can pretty much take this, use this spell on a dying cairn, and it immediately will not just jumpstart it, it could potentially upgrade it.
Which is fantastic, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An upgrade Karen, the world of Gary Nation Legendary location.
Hell yeah.
Is. And we got a lot more in here, but let's I want to get to the discussion portion. Let me go over the Bay Kahuna spell in here.
Oh,
Alright.
goody.
Ready for this? Waters of the Well of Life.
I knew this was coming. I was going to mention it if you didn't.
Although the masters of the Verbenna can create life, it is a power they rarely employ. The same is true for the power to restore life to the dead. Therein lay a hubris of
Asclepius and Hippocrates.
Thank you, they say.
You mean
Which led to the
Hippocrates?
creation of the Cosian Circle and their modern heirs, the progenitors. Such power over life and death is necessarily limited, because without death, life has no meaning. The Verbenna do possess mystic secrets for holding death at bay for a time, however. This enchantment has been found, in one form or another, among many different branches of the old faith. From the druids to the witches of Thessaly to the spaewives of the north, the caster infuses a bath, often in a great cauldron to get yourself dunked inside of a witch brew, with sacred herbs and magic power, transforming it into the waters of the Well of Life, which can restore life to the recently deceased. System, a minimum of 4 successes are needed to put the spell into effect, which is only possible if the subject has been dead for no more than a number of hours equal to the caster's arete. The deceased is restored to life with a single level of health, and she must recover from that point. The spell is always vulgar, since tempering with the forces of life and death in this way is no small thing. Prepare for a paradox when you cast this.
Absolutely.
If a character dies, well, behold, now we can just make the Lazarus pit and bring him back.
Yeah, but you gotta be quick about it.
No fun.
You gotta be very quick about
You
it.
gotta have
There
it
it
like
is.
in the middle of goddamn nowhere.
Yeah, you got at most in your mage game 5 hours to get this done.
Yeah. Plus, you're also looking about, at minimum, 5 dots of paradox.
And make sure that as very few people as possible know that the person is dead, because when they see them walking around again, that's also going to be paradox.
Yeah.
There it is.
So
And-
you better hope this guy is worth it that you're bringing back.
Yes, because it's going to fuck you up in the long run.
Yep.
It is.
Fun.
You'll notice that too when Mage 1936, a lot of major characters in that game are going to die. Bringing them back, even though you're mages, is not that simple, especially if that figure who died is a public figure that people knew that people knew he died.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you are on thin fucking ice with this spell.
Yeah, pretty much.
Horrible idea for this spell in the mage game. Some fuckwit's gonna try and bring back hit. Oh wait, no, it's 1936, so he's still alive.
There it is. Well,
I'm just gonna save that for myself for later then.
yeah.
Yeah. The Iron Circle are making a comeback, and they make a clone of Hitler.
There it is. They were going to do it with Heinrich Himmler before they found out, oh no, that Tremere got to him first.
Mein Führer, you have returned. I have, and what the fuck is this? You're a vampire now?
and then there's another section at the end saying, familiars, hey, if you want to, like, who's that cat that follows Sabrina to talk to? Salem?
Salem.
If you want Salem, you can have him.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, you're the witch tradition. You may as well have your cat familiar. Complete the set.
Sabrina the teenage bitch. She's just an asshole to everybody, and that's her character.
Yeah.
We're all gonna be
Magic does that to people.
Ryan, if you had magic, would you become a sociopath?
Absolutely not.
There it is.
I mean, let
Of
me put it
course
to you
you
this
won't.
way. I'm gonna be playing you Thanatos, and take that for what it's worth.
Let's just say, if I was to gain magical powers, there'll be signs.
You don't want to do that. You want to do that Vine with the guy on the lawnmower who's going, "Yeah, I got the power of God," and he aims the revolver at the cop.
Yes, I love that
Breaking
video
news.
so
Man with
much.
16-inch penis wins lottery for the 3rd time in a month.
All right, and now let's go to the segment of I'm just going to call it a segment if the Verbenna didn't suck, where I'm going to spitball some ideas. We're going to try to narrow these guys down to an actual idea that's interesting. So I did a bunch of brainstorming for this. I wrote down a bunch of ideas as to what these guys could be. So let's say how they're druids. What if they were so engrossed and obsessed with the physical world that their paradigm was to become part of the world?
So they wanted to be the Gangrel into Deluvia and Anoia.
They're saying,
Yeah.
when I die, I want to cast a spell as I'm dying that will turn me into the forest.
They literally just Yoda away.
Yep.
Yes. Or they become, say, obsessed with becoming Gaia's white blood cell, so to speak. That you say, oh, the Guru Nation, we know about the Guru Nation, and we believe they're failures. That everything they've done to try to protect Gaia has been a failure. So we'll take over where they have failed.
I mean,
And so they do what I thought the Verbenna were going to be, becoming directly Gaian mages, where they take on a more pandeist kind of idea, where they believe, instead of like believing in the old gods, the pagan gods, they believe that Gaia is God herself, and that they're trying to do what they can to protect her and save her.
Don't we already have the Dream Speakers for that though?
Where the Dream Speakers go for more of like an animist kind of route, and the Dream Speakers already do that. But the Verbenna would have like a fundamental disagreement with the Dream Speakers, given that the Dream Speakers have basically been absorbed into the Guru Nation.
Yeah, I suppose that's
also, the govern. Okay, the Dream Speakers and the Verbena are pretty much 2 branches on the same tree.
Yes.
However, the Verbena are well aware Gaia exists, and they do venerate her, while the Dream Speakers put on the fucking fedora, tell the Garu that Gaia is not real.
That's what they do.
I'm not making that
immediately
up.
get
That's real.
gutted.
Yeah, all the fucking Garu just turned to them and was like, "What did you just say?"
Because the Dream Speakers, they're stepping sideways. They can see the totems that the Guru Nation are talking to, and they can talk with them.
Yeah, they can see them, but they don't. Gaia's not real.
And then, because they're saying, oh, everything you're finding towards, we believe in the worm, we believe in the wild, we believe in the weaver, but we don't think Gaia has a soul.
And then they go Tony from Hotline Miami, just punch them through their stupid fucking head.
Yes, this is why there's a very uncomfortably tense relationship between the two, because even though by this point the Dream Speakers need the antenna to survive, they know better than to get that close to the antenna.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the white ones.
Yes.
Yeah, it won't work well
There
for
are
them.
no biracial antenna.
Well, there are. It's just depends on your definition of biracial.
Yes.
And along with this idea of say them becoming this obsessed with nature, instead of just walking around as a human, how about you just use that that life magic to turn yourself into the griffin? Behold,
Griffins, unfortunately, are not real anymore.
there it is.
So
They're not.
that
They're
you're gonna
not-
get paradox.
Yeah,
But they can do whatever the
but
fuck they want. I mean,
as
we
long as
already
you don't
established what
survive
they
to-
can do.
as long as you don't survive to tell the tale of the griffin.
Yeah.
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 It'll be a last stand.
Here,
Also,
it turns out like the Jersey Devil and the Yeti and Sasquatch are all just Verbena mages that said, I want to become my own designer animal.
yeah.
And just refuse to leave that body and just wander around the wood. You know, it's like every picture of Bigfoot, he's in the same pose.
Yeah.
They're like hunched over, one arm in front of the other, one leg in front of the other, and every picture's the same.
It's so
I'm starting to
fucking
think
dumb.
it's probably a werewolf who knows about it and just doing that on purpose.
This is your end goal with the Verbena, to put Sasquatch back into consensus.
I think it's really funny. Yeah, just do that. That's your whole fucking game.
Or how about you just dive into the ocean and become the Kraken?
Yeah.
This is my goal, to amass enough biomass to become the Kraken.
At that point, you're basically just playing Zamitzi Light.
Yes. That is Mitra, the most interesting vampire clan, of course.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Or say, you end up like digging into the world, as it turns out. What if like the Verbenas had chantries that were inside the planet, as in like Hollow Earth?
Yeah.
Is
I
what they
can
had.
definitely see them being very big fans of the Hollow Earth. In fact,
We-
I'm kind of shocked they don't have any strongholds there. I mean,
That-
Paradox does not exist in the Hollow Earth.
They would turn themselves into Excadrill or Dugtrio from Pokemon and just dig down into that secret sanctum that no one else has access to.
Yeah,
Or, you know, they do what Kyle does, turn into a fucking dinosaur.
Yes. Do
There it
that.
is. Behold, the Verbena created Jurassic Park.
That
No,
would be pretty
that was
funny.
probably the progenitors who did that.
Oh, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, that's probably
and
close
the
to it.
Verbena being no fun at all, destroy it.
There it is. We can't have dinosaurs no more. Like, you have the progenitors out here that they brought the Bunyip back to life. The progenitors did.
Yes.
Yeah.
There it is. And the Verbena said, no, even though we're the masters of the life sphere, they gotta stay dead.
Yeah.
It-
Guys, my ancient friend, the Bunyip, they're back. Oh, I've missed you so much. Verbena come in. Hey, that's a nice looking Bunyip there.
that's it.
I completely fucking forgot you had that soundboard.
The soundboard.
That will never not be funny to me. I love that thing so much.
It's kind of
If used sparingly.
Yes.
the second idea. It kind of does like pigeonhole like the whole like dynamic avatar, like pattern avatar, promo avatar thing, but you know, the wild exists in World of Darkness.
Yeah.
And Kyle, as we've discussed before in episodes, the wild might be God himself. in World
Yes.
of Darkness.
I personally subscribe to that theory.
So instead, like have them like kind of like branch off of the Celestial Chorus, where the Celestial Chorus turn out to be the ones in the wrong, where they think they know what God looks like, when as it turns out the Verbena say, no, we have spoken to God. He's not called that. He's called the Wild.
And that
And
could
then
be
you
a
have to
whole
think-
theological debate within itself.
Yes.
I
Where-
think the Wild is basically like God's proxy, maybe like copy of himself. He just like left and like just snuck off to go watch TV or something.
Like what he left behind to manage the world after he departed to create something else.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you got. Because even though the Celestial Chorus like pray to God and like have their powers directly stem from their belief in God, they don't talk to him. Only Zerial and Ebon Dragon. Oh, no, not Ebon Dragon. I'm forgetting who the other angel from Hunter the Reckoning is, but those are the two people that you're talking to.
God, I'm not very versed in Hunter. I think it's the Scarlet Dragon? Or no,
That-
that's the Scarlet
it's
Queen.
a Scarlet Dragon and Scarlet Empress and Ebon Dragon.
Yes,
or-
that's right. You got it right the first time.
And then like colloquially, she's known as Zerial, and I'm forgetting what Ebon's called. But I'm saying, what if it turns out, say, the Wild is known to exist in multiple incarnations, that the gods you're talking to are actually wilds, like pieces of the wild that he broke off his body, as we discussed in the Euthantos episode, and you're talking to other iterations of the wild that have taken on their own identities, and that's what the gods were supposed to be.
Right.
So
I could see that.
and then that would explain more like a rivalry between the Guru Nation and the Verbenna, because even though the Guru Nation do fight alongside the wild, they only do that because it's a transactional relationship where the wild will pay them with gifts and magic and gnosis to do this, but at the same time the wild will do stuff like give you the metamorphing plague or make you go crazy in exchange for the services. And that might be because the wild knows that you're only trying to use him. You don't love the wild, you love Gaia, is what the wild says to the Guru Nation. But the Verbenna, instead of fighting for Gaia, fight for the wild himself, and then ally with the wild, and the wild doesn't put some sort of like double deal at the end of his exchanges with them. And then
the werewolves are basically the wild sugar baby as well. The fucking Verbena go to him going, we'll do things the Garu won't.
It's what happens. And then you remember when we did 3.5 and we expanded what Gorgons were supposed to be?
Yes.
Where
vaguely, it's been a while since I saw that.
Yeah, it's the Gorgon is evolution untamed is what happens. When a wild spirit possesses somebody, they evolve quicker than their body can sustain. So they come off as these absolutely abstract, weird psychic abominations that can't handle their own powers. Instead of have that happen with the Verbenna, where a wild spirit possesses them and starts fueling their magic, and then the Verbenna's paradigms become centered around evolution and becoming a stronger version of mankind, where the wild is helping you unlock powers that are accessible to everybody, but now they're being revealed because you're communing with the wild. He's telling you, like Prometheus, how you're supposed to use these powers. And in a way that would also play into, say, an alliance with the Order of Hermes, because the Order of Hermes wants to get rid of the worm, even though they don't really recognize the worm as the worm, but they believe that if you break the chains of reality, everyone can become as gods. Or at least the House of Solificati believes in that. And with that, you have an actual reason for these two to talk if they believe in this.
I mean, technically, they already do have a reason to talk. They do have a house called House Diadne, which is basically the druid house for the Order of Hermes.
They exist to have public relationships with the Verbenna, and that's it.
Yeah. It's basically their one. And it's not even a great house. Last I checked, they were absorbed into House X Miscellanea.
Where it is. If it's not big enough to justify its own section of the book, just put it in House X Miscellanea. Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, my favorite mage character, Lucian Duval, House Creamon, represent.
Ooh. And when we get to the Order of Hermes, that's going to have to be a 2-part episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's going to be a long one.
You could have an episode on the houses alone.
Yeah, because there's so much content on the Order of Hermes.
Oh, yeah. The Verbenna, bare bonesy. Order of Hermes, oh, it's just a succulent steak. That's why my favorite.
On top of
we're going to add story back in for that.
What I mentioned before about chaos magic, behold, that's the wild. Yeah. Where you're now combining life and entropy into one area that will cause this, like, the Bermuda Triangle chaos zone where stuff just happens. Stuff just happens in an area. Where
he ascended.
Yeah, where the wild, the Verbenna would just cause places where stuff just happens. You cast chaos magic there, you then vacate the area as soon as possible.
You get the hell out of there as fast as you can.
Yep.
Third idea. Or once again, I'm tying to the Zimichi because the minute I start thinking of life-altering powers, I immediately think of the Zimichi.
Yeah.
So
usually,
I think their pact with Kupala, that does not take away from the Zimichi at all. So what if the Verbenna did the same, where they encountered an earthbound demon, but that demon was more noble in comparison to all the other earthbound, while still being self-serving. Where
good luck with that.
Yeah. Where it's an earthbound that says, I'll honor the bargain. It's going to benefit me in the end, but I will keep my promise.
I mean, it would have to be a earthbound with very low torment, because they're still demons.
This would be a pact that was like written back when the Verbena were the Wick, and
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah,
actually think
yeah,
the Wick, some of them were demons or
yeah,
angels,
like
I guess.
yeah, it was like written like during those times, so like super ancient man, back when man was getting intelligence,
The
and
time of miracles.
and like with Nurgle and Moloch, you got on that devil deal before that demon's torment skyrocketed. So you immediately signed not just your name, but the name of all your future descendants and members in his book, made that deal, and then made sure that he would honor that deal, saying, if it is not in this written agreement, you will not do it, and we will not do it. That kind of pact. And it's this constitution of like a super ancient, bewildered age that stays true today, explaining why the Verbena would refuse to adapt, because this is their law, this is how this magic works, and that law does not apply to a modern day that's starting to leave them behind. And this is so like play more into like the whole like witchcraft angle, because like with the witch hunter saying, oh, these women like met with the devil and like signed their name on his magic book, and that's how they got their power. Go like lean more into that kind of idea, where it's kind of like the like partially demonic mage that manages to keep their sanity without becoming evil.
Yeah, without becoming full on Nefandi.
Where it's like good Nefandi, so to speak.
That is a oxymoron, my friend.
It is. It really is.
Where they use the same kind of like quote unquote evil magic that the Nefandi use, but for a more noble purpose.
Basically, it's tapping into entropy rather than dynamism or static. You're pretty much dancing a razor's edge, my dude. If you fall, instant Nefandiism.
Where it leads to this like really high risk, high reward kind of paradigm and playstyle.
It'd be the hard mode, really.
You're gonna have a will of iron and borderline Order of Hermes level discipline if you're gonna go that route.
Because with the kind of stuff I'll read, Kyle, Spawn is one of my favorite comics. And this idea I'm having is doing like a big Spawn vibe.
I mean, I only saw like parts of the movie.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
That was a mistake. You poor bastard.
I'm sorry you had to watch that.
I don't know why it was on. I was like, why is there a fat clown eating bugs?
Yeah,
do you need help?
It is.
I don't know. This was years ago. I barely remember what the fuck that movie was about.
I think like most of the HBO series has got parodied on YouTube or something.
Oh yeah, definitely watch the animated series.
That was fantastic animation. But
Chef's kiss.
That kind of stuff where it's evil that fights evil, so to speak.
Well, that's the Chronicles of Riddick, so.
And that you skirt the line and you toe the line. What? You guys know what Fire Emblem is, right?
Yes, the Mormons of anime fans.
Yeah, not really one of my things. Never was into RTS games, sadly.
Is that I had the GBA games, and something that when I was playing the Binding Blade, I played that on my fucking tablet while I was in high school. There's a plot point in it that I thought was really interesting and fantastic, but none of the other games ever expanded on it. Because there's 3 different kinds of magic in that game. There's the nature anima magic, the holy light magic, and then the dark magic. And the more you used dark magic, it would slowly begin to change, taint, and corrupt you as a person. So every dark mage that you had on your party, they were weird in comparison to everyone else. And it's because of the magic they were using. Where in Binding Blade specifically, you had Nime, who was this witch that was like 90 years old. And by that point, she'd grown used to it. She knew that she was not a good person. There was a dark side to her. But she had that life wisdom and used her magic sparingly throughout her life. She wasn't going to lose her mind anytime soon. But alternatively, you had prepubescent kid Ray on your party, who was not only using dark magic, but didn't stop using it. And you could tell that he was becoming this massive sociopath, because the 2 other kids in the party, Lou and Chaz, were both looking at him and saying, hey, yo, we're not really okay with what you're doing. Where it was this really interesting plot point, and Ray ended up becoming one of my favorite characters in that game.
Just somebody that was just really detached.
Where, like, his brother Lou, like Lou is one of the other kids in it, where he's the mage that's using anima magic, and like he's smiling, he's super cheerful. All of his scenes and dialogue, he's like getting along with everybody, smiling. And then Ray is scowling the entire time. And just about half his conversations are him starting confrontations with other characters. And it's like, it raises this question like, are you even aware this is what you sound like by this point? That kind of stuff.
I mean,
So if we
if you're that corrupted by it, I mean, like, you're at that point you can't really perceive reality from what you think you're saying.
So that kind of Verbena where you're doing what nobody else can do, but eventually somebody's going to have to handle you.
From what you describe, it sounds like close to entering a state of quiet and tapping into what is basically Jor, the death essence, which is something the Euthanatoi have to deal with a lot. And it sounds like these Verbena would have the same issues, so I could probably see them and the Euthanatoi getting along at least somewhat.
Because I noticed there are a lot of similarities mostly in the book between the Euthanatos and the Verbena, but it seemed that all the actual interesting, fun ideas went to the Euthanatos and the Verbena got left with shit.
It's basically like the Verbena are the tree, but all the other traditions are the fruit that came from it. Sure, they're the first ones, but that don't mean they're the interesting ones.
And all the people that had the good ideas left to become the dream speakers, and then everyone that was using the fluids magic went off to become the cult of ecstasy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And then we're just left with some sort of like shelled, holdout husk at the end of the day. But who would be the patron that would give you this kind of magic? I have a demon generated for us already.
Do you?
See, I have Azael, the Verdant Prince, is what I have. Once he looked like this gigantic tree made out of flesh that exists in the Umbra. He has been pulled out. He has stepped sideways. Where have I decided to place this guy? I have decided I'm going to put him smack dab in the middle of Africa. Is where I'm going to put him. Around the same place where you'd have Zaire as a country. Some people refer to him as Yggdrasil, the world tree. And given his sheer size, you would think that. Where he is a demon, but because the people got to his contract, he managed to stay sane and his steady supply of worshippers have kept him appeased. He has accumulated a lot of torment and he no longer sees value in human life. He sees, oh, if you die, you're replaceable. I can just make more people if I need to. And he's no longer concerned about life and death, but he's still going to honor the bargain of the people that have decided to sign a contract with him and become the Verbena.
Yeah, that just sounds like the Verbena regardless, honestly.
Yes. But we give like an actual like named character like Compare with capital C to the Verbena. And then, of course, this guy hates the Weaver, he pities the Worm, and he looks at the Wild with indifference. We look at this guy. Yep. And as for who you're making his human sacrifices to, it's him. But like all the other Earthbound, like say Belial, Baal, Dagon, and Demon of Fallen lore, he's taken on the identity of all these other pagan gods, and all of your worship, all your sacrifices are going to him instead of the god you think it is. So that's how this sacrifice magic is supposed to work.
You just change the name. No one knows it. They don't know where the souls go. They just know that their gardens are becoming more powerful. Look, the world trees are sprouting up.
Given how much I've talked about this idea, I think you've realized that like this is probably my favorite one of the ideas I came up with.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Well, it's already better than the Verbena themselves, so.
It really...
To be fair, there wasn't exactly a lot there to begin with.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I have come up with something better.
I'm pretty sure all of us can come up with something better.
And then we mentioned this before, but like the whole like Verbena being basically marauders that have kept their heads on straight, where the lie will set you free, so to speak.
Yeah, they fall off that disciplined path, they'll either become a marauder or an Afandi. But the power they give you, wow.
Power that will give you, as long as you're able to like keep your lies and story consistent, you'll get the power.
That sounds fun.
They'll tell you that our business is based off the foundation of lies and deception. And the minute you lose the control of those lies and deceit, you'll fall apart. Either you'll suffer paradox, you'll go quiet, or you'll enter Jor. What was that? The Invention of Lying, that movie?
Wait, which one?
I don't think I've seen that one.
The 2009 movie, The Invention of Lying with Ricky Gervais.
Actually, no, I didn't see that one either.
It's a guy who's living in a world where everybody tells the truth and he's the one man who can lie.
Yes, I remember this movie. I've seen it a couple years back.
And then, as it turns out, because he's the only one who lies, everybody assumes that everything he says is the truth.
That's kind of scary to think about.
There it is. It's
But then
kind
again, that's Mage. You're bullshitting your way to ascension.
Yes. And so that's that would create a whole like new purview of like lying magic.
Yeah, that's pretty much magic with a K. You're lying through your teeth and subverting reality with your lies.
There it is.
And that's why I fucking love this game.
That's how you get around magic, is saying like, you can't do it. Yes, I can.
Yeah.
Well, how can you do it?
Gaslighting reality.
Well, you have to like get away with like lying to people so the paradox doesn't slap you in the ass and kill you.
Basically. Yeah. I'm just really good at my job. Don't worry about it.
2 + 2 = 5. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Here's the math.
It is.
Well, I just suffered a brain aneurysm, so I'll just believe you.
And if you want an example of this kind of mage, look at Destiny.
Mm.
There it is. Storyteller, have you seen one of his streams?
I've seen clips. I know of this guy.
I've seen a streamer where like he was playing like a Steam RPG, stake.com, and a chess game while having a debate with somebody. This is just he's that juiced out of his mind on Adderall the entire time.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I need to get my hands on some of that.
I started a game with a friend that's 14 days long.
And this man's been playing Civilization 6 while playing Stake at the same time.
Oh, wait, has he actually?
There it is. We're going to go into Ryan's profile right now. Let's see.
Hey, hello.
We're changing Ryan's username to Bossman Ryan.
Okay, I'm on board with that. That's a pretty good name.
There it is. After Bossman Jack, the gambling streamer.
See, I'm just thinking of I'm thinking of the classic meme Dub Boss Man, which never should have gone away. That was a classic meme. It was a positive meme. I could see this dub with my eyes closed, Boss Man.
We can't have nice things anymore.
See, I've got one more version of the
Verbenna.
Yeah, of the Verbenna go over. I saw like some Bossman Jack pop up on my screen. I just lost my train of thought for a minute. So one more thing, you know how the whole Order of Hermes shtick is, we will unlock the secrets to become as gods?
Yes.
So what if the Verbenna said that is the objective, to give power to ourselves to take on the identity of gods? Is the whole idea.
You will destroy yourself in the attempt, there being no strange gods before him.
And that the gods they have, like Odin, Thor, Lu, Brigid, Dagda, Heimdall, Loki, these are all named members of the Verbenna who struck it and succeeded and ascended to godhood.
I actually came up with an idea like that a couple months back.
Well, like Verbenna that become the gods that they worship?
That they were the gods that they worship. That they weren't actual gods. They were just mages with insanely high arete.
And that's what becoming an archmage would be, is that's the end goal, to reach Sphere 10 and become the overgod.
Yeah. Zeus wasn't an actual sky daddy. He was just a sexual weirdo with arete 9.
He was a man like me, and you can become just like him too if you follow these easy steps.
Oh my god, Zeus is like a modern day oh god, what were they called? The manosphere people?
Yeah, the manosphere.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Zeus is everyone's... The Jews ain't worth the squeeze.
Ridiculous. Wait, why are you dying at that? What?
Yeah,
just the idea of Zeus going, sex with women is no longer worth it. It's like, bro, I'm pretty sure half the women you banged in those ancient days weren't exactly
That's pretty
willing.
standard for Greece, so...
You got Zeus over here saying, it's pussy shit to date only one woman. You want to have multiple women like I did? I had like 100 wives and 1,000 kids.
Zeus, how many of those were willing wives exactly?
It doesn't matter. Zeus is out here like stealing women's passports.
Yeah.
It's like Andrew Tate. and then that's the end goal. Then the Verbenna that would have ascended to godhood are more like martyrs in the eyes of other Verbenna, saying, "Okay, you did it. What do I need to do to reach that same level?" And Cal, you know how the gods in D&D work, right?
To an extent, yes. I do play as a cleric.
Because they were all men. Every single one of them was a normal man at some point in their lives. But then they reflected an idea and a philosophy so strongly that they became the icon of that idea, and then used that to ascend to godhood.
Oh,
We're the only.
I thought I came up with something original.
And the only gods that were true gods were Saloon and Shar, and that was it.
What
Where
about Ale?
Are you telling that my religion is fake?
it is, yes.
I'm going to kill you.
It's
You can try.
Prepare to die.
that's my 5 ideas as to what we could do with the Verbena instead.
All better than everything
I've
else.
got
Yes, go
one
ahead.
idea
You
for
got an idea?
Verbena.
What's the inspiration?
The inspiration is that spell to get people away from you.
There it is.
It's one guy or
It's,
girl
it's one guy who's like going around
solely
like,
to get any supernatural being away from them.
yes. It's this like Diablo kind of isolationist where nobody's allowed to know his identity.
Yeah.
It's,
Anyone who tries to get close to him, he uses that spell, and it's whether it succeeds or not, he's like, "I'm stuck with you, aren't I?"
right, Ryan, we have an image as to what this looks like.
Do we?
Do we?
Let's see. Nobody in this call reads JoJo, do they?
No.
Fucking love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Have you caught up with the events of Part 8?
No, I'm saving that for the anime because I hear that one gets weird.
It is, and it's a mystery story, and Rocky was writing the mystery as he was going along.
Yeah.
But this stand. Ryan, what you just described.
Wonder of You? Yeah,
Yes.
I know about that guy.
Yeah, well, Ryan, what you just described is this stand.
Ah.
Yeah.
Instead of calamity, unfortunately, instead of like a door from an airplane falling and crushing someone, it's $1,000 in a bag of money.
Yes. Where, Ryan, would you like to know like a very strange power that can also apply to Mage Ascension?
Sure.
It's what this guy has, where if you pursue him, if you follow him with the intent of like going up to him and like say asking him a question or fighting him, random stuff will just happen to you as you're doing that.
I like this guy.
Yes.
Yeah. You're gonna need
I want to be this guy
just to get close to him.
How do you fight this guy? You don't. You just leave him alone, and stuff will stop happening to you.
He sounds.
But then again, it's a robot man with a bowler hat and a suit and a cane. How do you not approach that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd likely run away because it reminds me of Mr. X from Resident Evil 2.
There it is. It starts blasting X going to give it to you in the background.
Yes.
Except you gotta chase him.
Go and give it to you. Go and give it to you.
Somebody put the mod in that game.
Knock, knock, open up the door. It's real.
Let's see. And so, Kyle, you got ideas as to how to make the Verbena not suck?
I think I already shared mine in the beginning of it, just because they're ludicrously powerful. I would honestly kind of make them the Nosferatu of mages, just because of how incredibly powerful they are, with life and entropy as two spears that they practice, and correspondence. And some of the spells that they can cast is just insane. So, like, if you do play as a Verbenna, I would urge you to make this the hard mode of your campaign.
Mm-hmm. Go along with this kind of stuff, and having that constantly justify your worldview in the face of everybody that has evidence that can prove you wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, you will constantly be at risk at Paradox. You will constantly be at risk of falling to Marauder. So, like, you need to find a way to make it work. You can either, like, hide yourself within the bounds of polite society, but then you risk, like, losing that entirely with, you know, the I know it's not Changeling, but, like, you might lose your way in, you know, the face of clear progress, or you just happen to come across a solution to an unsolvable problem because you dared to be wrong about something. Make it make sense to be wrong.
Mm-hmm. And
That's...
Storyteller, what do we do to fix the Verbena?
Oh God! If I went through that, we'd be here an extra hour. But
We got an hour to kill.
I do have a couple ideas how to make these guys somewhat more palatable.
Tell us these ideas.
One idea. The Verbenna, we all know, have had their ass handed to them throughout history. We've made this clear.
Yes.
I was thinking perhaps they were a sort of making yourself better through the face of adversity. Trying to constantly use all the things that are bad happening to you and using those as a stepping stool to make yourself into a grander, far better individual, both physically, mentally, and spiritually. I think the Verbenna could pretty much become a really powerful mage tradition if they had some kind of drive to put them there, and the constant adversities that they face could be that drive to overcome all the bad things happening to them, where they can just like be at peace.
Would it become like the social Darwinist mage, where
Yes, the social Darwinist mage, which could lead to some issues when you get into eugenics, but that'll be a bridge when we cross it.
they would say like, in order to reach this 10th sphere, I need to be the strongest of them all.
That's why the Verbenna think the 10th sphere is the self, which brings all the other 9 into one.
And that's why you got. So they're going like Yujiro Hanma from Glepper Baki using the lab sphere to jack up their muscles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure Yujiro Hanma is actually a mage. I'm totally convinced that the things that man does is beyond human.
That was a low blow, geezer.
Idea number 2. Considering that these guys are so infused with nature itself and Gaia, I think they would become like actively wanting to help the Garu Nation and pretty much help them get their heads out of their asses and do their fucking jobs. Specifically, going out and looking for people with the changing gene in them and forcibly initiating a change. Just swell up the numbers, get these guys going, and try to combat the worm, or at the very least, keep it in line so they don't have to worry about Pentex and their bullshit ruining all of their groves. Because it's not just the new the NWO fucking them over, it's Pentex too.
And telling them that you need to adapt, you need to change, you need to evolve if you're going to win this war.
And you're starting to see a pattern here. With Life Sphere, change becomes you in more ways than you can imagine. Idea number 3, and probably not the most lawful good idea I have. This one's going to a bit of the eugenics idea of cutting the chaff to save the herd. Basically, your Luigi Mangione idea. These aren't the good guys, by the way. Basically, they would look out, see what the Thanatoi are doing, but think they're not doing enough. Where they want to go out and actively start culling individuals en masse. Where they want to try and make humanity better by making less of them. This falls into the entropic sort of idea for these guys.
They're going around like say like the Viltrumites are invincible.
Pretty much. Why take out like only one bad person when you can take down all of them? But aren't you going to kill a bunch of people in the process? Well, spoil the rod, spare the child. I think that applies here. Well, you won't be alive long enough for it to matter.
But if we knew we were going to become this empire that's going to take the 10th sphere, we had to get rid of the weakest of us. It was a long war, but eventually the strongest of us remained.
Yeah. I'm not going to go on the whole, we should love the trees and the animals. Please, go hug your fellow bush. It'll make you a better person. No, I want to go full-on dark, you should fear nature kind of mages.
That would be pretty sick, though, not going to lie.
The latter, not the tree-hugging kind. That's kind of lame.
Just go ahead, because the whole like environmentalist kind of stuff. It's like this always like anal flex, kiss the tree, save the rainforest kind of message that just gets really trite after a while.
At that point, you just want to just go pollute just to spite these people.
There it is.
There is one small other idea I had for a Verbenna character, though.
Tell us.
Who here knows Mortal Kombat?
I do.
So, y'all know Shang Tsung.
Yes.
He's probably one of the best villains in the series, second only to the Chad Master that is Shao Kahn. So, the spell of the Sacred King. What if instead of fueling a node, you take all that power and give it to yourself? You start performing human sacrifices. You take all this quintessence and you don't put it into the nodes, you take it yourself. You start stealing souls, life energies. You bring someone's life down from decades to seconds, and all the while feeling yourself. You become a force of nature and corruption. And you start to become a problem, even for the technocracy to handle. Because if you get close to him, you're just fueling him. You'll start to have to send in a couple hit marks to take care of this guy. But by then, he's probably going hand to hand with them. He's probably on Yujiro Hanma's level mixed with Shang Tsung, and that is a problem for everybody.
But it makes it so much cooler, though.
It does. But unless you gotta fight him.
Then don't fight him.
Yeah, until he comes to you. Oh, I'm a couple decades short. Come here, baby. Let me get it. Come here, kiss me on the hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
It takes so long for that scene to go viral.
But that is pretty much what I would do with the Verbenna.
Where, well, hold on, just going in like giving them something and stuff. The nothing that was here.
Yes.
Yeah. As a storyteller, it's pretty easy for me. My whole job is putting things where there aren't anything.
That's all we really need to do.
Plus, I have like weapons grade autism, so I do this shit for fun.
Yeah. Don't worry, we do a bunch of creative writing in our time too.
Yeah,
yes,
I still do that.
So there it is. And see, you're wrapping my head around something dumb. Do we have anything else to say about the Verbenna, or is that it?
To sum up the Verbenna, they are wildly adaptable. They can be interesting allies, very powerful ones if you get a smart one, but they can also be major problems for your campaign. If you know what you're doing, you use them well, because the Verbenna, they can do a lot with very little.
Because what I've always seen as the Verbenna is that these guys make for better NPCs than they do for player characters.
I literally have a bunch of Verbenna NPCs.
As if you are going to use the Verbenna, you have to use them as NPCs where you go in with the Verbenna character, they do what they're going to do, and then they get out. Because the minute you start talking about paradigms, you, the storyteller, or you, the player, will very quickly realize that there is no real philosophy behind this, and that you're not going to be able to stand up in that debate. And when your paradigm is shattered, you go into quiet.
Yeah.
And
until you come out and just like gaslight yourself into believing something.
There it is. And behold, you now become a marauder.
Oops.
Only a matter of time.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, with Celestial Chorus next week, there'll be a lot more to talk about.
There it is.
Yes, indeed.
We got Rapper coming in for that one. Here to share the love of Jesus Christ with everyone in the server.
Oh, yeah, that's our boy
Wish I could
right
join
there.
y'all, but unfortunately, I don't have that much PTO.
Yeah, it's all right.
Well, good, homie.
You've been a great help with this one. Where thank you for telling me that, yes, I'm not the only one seeing this shit with the Verbenna.
And mind you, I'm a massive Mage stan. This is my game. It may be my favorite tabletop game, bar none. And even I find these people absolutely insufferable.
Man's got to know his limitations.
There it is.
A man can only take so much, Kyle.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to gush like crazy when we eventually do get to the virtual adepts.
I am
And
very
I'll
excited
do
to
that
do
when you
that,
guys
man.
talk to about the Order of Hermes. Which
Order of Hermes.
when are you guys gonna do that one, by the way?
That's good. We're going to.
That's gonna be our series finale, I think, for Mage.
We're going to have to save them for last because of just how much content there
dense
is and how
is.
like we need to understand the context from other traditions and conventions and the Nephilim themselves to really understand what the story is supposed to be.
Yeah, see, like we didn't get Ephemeris last for Werewolf because they're the most popular, but for the Order of Hermes, because of how much more complex Mage is as a game, we just need to know more before we can cover Hermetics.
Okay,
And
understandable.
With Order of Hermes, unlike all the other Mage books, the story for the Hermetics progressed between editions.
Yes, they actually did shit.
Yeah, so
I can see that. Unlike the Verbenna, which seems to have been stagnant from 1 to M20, which I kind of like. Not gonna lie, I kind of like it. Says I don't have to buy a shit ton of books just to get the entire story. I just get one. But yeah, you're right, Johnny. It is wildly. Oh, what was the word you said? Wildly liberal.
yes.
Yeah.
Just not a fan of Mage 20 by any means.
Yeah. Even then, the Verbena haven't done jack shit in M20.
It
And you know what? I've been hearing rumblings of a M5. Oops, that's my.
is never going to get off the ground. Fucking Honest Path doesn't know how to manage money.
No, they really don't.
That's what I pray. I pray.
I keep thinking, Johnny, it's like, how much money do you think we need to pay Onyx Path for all the rights to World of Darkness?
Because like we made 3.5 off a budget of $200, and that was it.
Basically, yeah. That's mostly just for the art.
Yeah, that was for the art too, and then every expense for that was out of my pocket. And that's to me, I think that's as much as you really need to spend for an RPG book. But then,
you don't need to go crazy. Like, all the artwork is really cool and everything, but like, you don't need to go ham. It's about the book.
And fucking Werewolf 5th edition had like traces of people, like real life people that they like stole the identities of, and AI generated the artwork. And it would not have surprised me if, say, the text in that book was AI generated as well. And now that Wizards of the Coast has fired 90% of their staff because they realized they could just use computers and don't need people for this anymore, it would not surprise me if Mage 5th edition does come out and then it turns out, the entire book is written by AI. And then we start seeing characters in the book that have 4 fingers or 6 fingers.
Just call them under the effects of paradox.
There it is. You cast a spell, it gives you an extra finger.
That's like the same argument as if you fuck up a meal, just call it Chicago style and serve it anyway.
Yeah.
Mind you, I also use a lot of AI art for my games. It's a massive boon for storytellers. So
it is.
I don't gotta go stealing shit off of
I
Google.
don't have to go Google every single character. That is the one thing I do use AI for, is just making tokens, just so like everybody will have like an idea of what the character would look like.
A unique appearance. They're not all using like the same generic thing for everybody.
Basically, yeah. Like I have like a whole stack of just generic tokens to use for just general civilians. But like that's all you really need. But like then again, I'm also in the thing where the story keeps moving to different spots, so I have to keep making new characters, and it takes up a lot of time to do all that. Like I am building Charlotte is daunting, not because like and I've been to Charlotte and I've had Johnny help me with like the logistics of it. But building all the characters and then building the story of how that's supposed to go, that's where I'm really on the struggle bus.
Well, are you building this all at once, or?
I kind of have to at this point. Like I've been slacking a little because I got so much other shit going on.
Unless you know that's going to appear in that session.
Well, yeah, that's the hard part. But that's the thing is like I can't predict what you guys are going to do. So you might say we're going this way, and I have nothing prepared for that.
Well, that's what you did. Like we managed to like cut me off with me going after the Boy Scout. It was Jen coming in doing the conversation and shit.
Don't break that.
Nothing came out. Okay. All right.
Yeah, you
and
just
then
go into an area and God just puts down the title that says this area is not yet unlocked.
Or you just like straight up tell us that I don't have a map prepared for that, and then we just won't do it then.
Yeah.
Because you can tell us that.
Well, man, I figured, like, I gave it a little bit of leeway with the whole, like, Serpent Brotherhood, sort of, I made it into a side quest. Like, when you're, like, out and about, you can likely find other spirits that you can recruit to say, hey, if you go north, you'll find a wind spirit who will tell you about this group of people that will destroy Mother Gaia. Go and, go and spread your essence near them in order to sway them from their path. That's the main thing. And that's the side quest.
Let's see. There you go. And so yeah, but it comes to Charlotte, you really do not need to build everything one day.
It all depends on what to do. Like, I think what I need to do first of all is I need to figure out, like, how everything ties together in that city. Because Chattanooga, I have a pretty good idea about. Charlotte, the reason that I included Charlotte in the game, this is going to sound dumb, is because I misspoke a couple of times in the story. And I thought, well, fuck, I guess I'm doing this now.
Happy accidents lead to fun places.
Basically, that's where we're at. And it did give me the opportunity to put something in the game that I wanted to put in from the very start. So I am excited about that at the very least.
Because I want to say, like, whenever it comes like we're running Appalachia this week, unless Agent Evans pops up, but I want to say, like, just go ahead, like, show your work for what you've got.
Well, I mean, this session we're still in Midway, which
Clanville.
We're gonna have a lot of combat, which that's all done.
Yes.
I don't know if we're going to get to Charlotte.
Well, combat's
proper.
gonna last about an hour to an hour 30 minutes.
Yeah. But, like, I've got enough for that at the very least, and, like, granted, you're probably gonna need to, like, find a place to stop somewhere just to lay low for a bit, because you're gonna make a lot of noise there.
Yes.
So that's what that's gonna be. Anyway, but yeah, so back on topic, the Verbenna, the book sucks, but if you want to, this has potential if you want to expand it yourself. It sucks that you have to do it yourself, but it's there. You just have to do it. You just have to work at it.
And what do you mean it takes a long time to generate characters? I made this while we were having this episode.
Hang on, what?
Oh God, what did you make?
Yeah.
Oh, this?
Yeah,
What is this? Is this a red cap?
No, this is for the Disco by Night vampire game on Fridays.
He looks kind of
Nice.
cool, though. I like him.
Yeah, we got this basketball playing Setite that we're gonna fight.
Actually,
That's something.
I made a boxing Nosferatu once a while back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like a sewer boxing ring underground. Nosferatu go there.
It's not
fights.
It's not the generation of the character that takes a long time. That's easy. It's building character sheets. That takes me a minute. That and I have to balance them with the rest of the party. And
Kyle, you want to know what I was doing for Rage Cross Russia? Artificial intelligence.
you were having the AI generate characters for you.
It knows World of Darkness as a system, and it can just generate the stuff. I go in, I copy what it does, I edit what I think is appropriate for the character. That's it.
I suppose that's fair. I'm basically just chucking shit in there.
And then, Kyle, if you think it's going to take a while to do a World of Darkness character sheet, wait until you run D&D.
Yeah, I know. I'm apprehensive at best.
I've had to dedicate entire days to just making NPC stat blocks.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how my sister and her girlfriend do
Days?
it. They are just
days.
insane.
I've spent months
doing that shit.
Yeah. I think it helps when you have a module.
But I do that shit in like an hour.
It also doesn't help that D&D has this rules as written culture to it, where you always have like those asshole rules lawyer players that say, it says this in the rules. It has to see me to do this. You can't actually do this. It's got to be seen. Like fuck you, dude.
I'm blessed with having a very good IRL D&D party. So
we're doing this for fun, not because it's a job.
Yeah,
that's why most of my one shots are stuff that I use for balancing purposes.
Yes,
it's how I test out combats that I want to use against my players.
Yep,
we're his guinea pigs.
Then running combat scenarios is something that I keep telling myself to do and then don't.
There's some. In the latest one shot I ran with you, Johnny, there were some glaring potholes that I didn't know. Like the shades, I didn't make them immune to exile or asleep. That was a huge thing.
Oh yeah, I
There it is.
remember that.
It's not. It's because that's the shit with D&D 5e stat blocks. You have to check and then double check what you wrote into it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I almost killed my entire party with a bunch of red worms that give you nightmares.
That's fair.
I killed a bunch of. I almost killed a bunch of my entire party with 3 imps.
Because here's a fun question. Find how many creatures in D&D are immune to stun.
Yeah, it
That's
kind
what
of sucks.
And then realize how small that list is.
Yeah,
And
suddenly the
Poison. I said it once, and I'll keep saying it. Poison is such an underrated ability or condition.
Yeah. Oh, it fucks you up, dude. But how many enemies? But in contrast, how many enemies are immune to poison damage or the poison condition?
Exactly.
Almost none.
It is. Until you start getting that, until you start finding like fiends, some aberrations, every construct you ever come across. Most undead.
Yeah, but some fiends aren't.
Yeah, if you find a monstrosity or a beast or giants, dragons, go ahead.
Poison damage, yes. Poison damage is very there's very resistances. There's not a lot of things in D&D that have poison condition immunity.
Yeah.
Poison is a disadvantage on pretty much all attack roll. Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much on everything.
It is a rough fucking ability check.
Yes.
I love poison conditions so much, and when I use the imps, they give out the poison condition.
Yeah.
It was huge. I almost TBK'd the party.
Yep.
They were pretty high level for.
Yeah. My sister is very much fond of the camp of, I'm going to have one roll that will fuck you up in the first round of combat before you even get a swing in. And then you have to work around that. Like,
The lair.
we're playing Curse of Strahd, and we went to the Lake Zarevich.
Mistake.
Guy was trying to throw like a kid into the water. We went to save him. We immediately got hit by a Wraith Shriek, knocked out 2 people of the party immediately. A bunch of will-o-wisps spawned and killed one of our party members, like on the spot. Thankfully, we revivified him, but it, that added so much tension to the fight. It was a little cheap, I will admit, but like the thing about a saving throw like that is if you succeed once, you can't be affected by it again.
It's a do or die.
Yes.
So I believe that's it for this episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Verbena. Book sucks. Do something else.
Do use your own ideas. I swear, what you thought of before watching this video of what the Verbenna were going to be was more interesting than what was actually in the books.
All right, keep an eye out for my new characters, the Verbenna character in the Mage game.
Have you switched to being a Verbena mage?
I don't know yet.
Now spite.
Yeah.
Same thing with a Ravnos character.
There we go.
All right. That'll do her. Good night, everybody.
And everyone.
Have a good night, guys.
All right.